signed a bill funding much of the Department of Homeland Security.
The president's signature put an end to the longest agency shutdown in history. It lasted more than 70 days as Democrats refused to fund Donald Trump's immigration enforcement operations without changes. To break the impasse, Republican leaders in both the House and Senate decided to tackle the immigration enforcement funding on their own through what is called budget reconciliation.
And White House correspondent Greg Clugston says that process will take several weeks. Gas prices, they continue to rise. Today's AAA national average, $4.39 per gallon for regular. It's up 9 cents from yesterday, but White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett expects the sky-high prices to be short-lived.
We're more optimistic even than futures markets because we've started to account for the fact that UAE left OPEC, and they have a massive amount of excess capacity. They could turn the knobs up to 100% right away, and that'll have a huge effect on oil prices around the world.
President Trump says Iran, despite perceived stubbornness when it comes to making a deal with the U.S., is most anxious to end the war.
I mean, I don't know what stubbornness is because really nobody knows what the talks are except myself and a couple of other people. They want to make a deal badly.
And despite high prices and the Iran war, we've seen a cavalcade of upbeat economic news this week. Manufacturing is hot, consumer confidence has come bounding back, and the housing market is picking up both in terms of construction and home buying. Federal prosecutors out with a video showing the moment a man armed with guns and knives tried to storm the White House Correspondents' Dinner last weekend. Intent, prosecutors say, on assassinating President Trump and members of his team. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures are up by 71 points. NASDAQ futures down 28. Townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026? If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this: Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a health insurance alternative at half the cost. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. While insurance companies tell you when to join, what to pay, and where to go, CHM is different. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other Christians. You can enroll, switch programs, or leave at any time. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a world of difference. CHM has 4 flexible programs. You can pick any certified doctor, surgeon, or hospital that you want for eligible care. So make the switch. Take your paycheck back from health insurance this year. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
Myanmar has detained former leader Aung San Suu Kyi, toppled in a military coup a few years ago, has been moved from prison to house arrest.
The move to house arrest depends what condition she's moved to. Remember, she's already living in a house. Technically, it's considered prison, but she was moved 2 years ago with a number of other elderly prisoners because of extreme heat. So we don't know what her conditions are like now. I know that her family and friends say they haven't had proof of life, but I think it's extremely unlikely that the military regime would be talking about her in this way and putting these images out if she were, in fact, no longer alive.
The BBC's Jonathan Head. 45-year-old man charged with attempted murder in the stabbings of 2 Jewish men in London. The suspect faces 2 counts relating to the attack in Golders Green and a 3rd charge stemming from an attack elsewhere in the city on the same day that left a man with minor injuries. British government pledging to tackle anti-Semitism. News and analysis, townhall.com. A groundbreaking big money deal is making waves in the world of college athletics.
The Big 12 is the first known conference to strike a private capital deal. The conference apparently now has a 5-year agreement with Redbird Capital Partners, which has been ratified by Big 12 presidents and chancellors. Redbird will provide the conference with a $12.5 million capital infusion and offer up to a $30 million line of credit for each Big 12 school. The partnership is designed to grow revenue for the league at a time when some schools are strapped for cash. Jason Walker reporting.
Peace, higher wages, better working conditions, the demands of activists who are again taking to the streets on this May Day. It is a public holiday in many countries overseas. In the U.S., foes of President Trump will not pass up the chance to air their discontent. Townhall.com.
All right, folks, I need you to do something right now. Go to johnfredericksradio.com and take our brand new 2028 Republican presidential straw poll. Who do you want leading the ticket? Don't let the elites decide. Make your voice heard. While you're there, weigh in on two huge issues: eminent domain reform and President Trump's tariff policies. Are they protecting American workers or hurting growth? This is your movement, your vote, your voice, your choice. Go to johnfredericksradio.com right now and take the poll.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
To take advantage of the second annual mega sale, go to MyPillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
What if those who were once called conspiracy theorists turn out to be right again? A new study by Korean doctors claimed that COVID vaccines raise the risk of 6 cancers, including lung, breast, and prostate. Researchers analyzed health records from more than 8.4 million adults between 2021 and 2023, and their findings were published in Biomarker Research, a respected scientific journal. Critics dismiss it, but the data raises concern that spike protein exposure may be tied to long-term health risks. And Dr. Peter McCullough has been aware of this since 2020, which is why he collaborated with the wellness company to create Ultimate Spike Detox, designed to help your body clear spike proteins, reduce inflammation, and support heart health. With natural ingredients like nattokinase, dandelion root, and bromelain, it is your daily proactive defense from a man-made virus. Don't wait until symptoms strike or something unexpected happens. Experience the only formula approved and used by Dr. McCullough, one of the top doctors who risked it all. Go to twc.health/Godzilla. That's twc.health/Godzilla and use promo code Godzilla to get 10% off plus free shipping.
Happy Friday morning, listening family. This is the John Fredericks Media Network. I'm Dan Hobgood. Time for a look at weather and sports. We'll start where I am right now in Richmond, Virginia, where the high today will be a very pleasant 70 degrees, a low tonight of 50 degrees. Right now, the temperature is a brisk 40 degrees. I don't care. I kind of like this weather. Meanwhile, the Flying Squirrels last night throttled Altoona 18-6. Doubleheader today to make up the PPD game from earlier this week on account of rain. Moving on to the nation's capital, the Nats beat the New York the Mets, 5-4. The Nats will host Milwaukee this weekend. First pitch tonight at 6:45 p.m. High today in the nation's capital of 68 degrees, low of 47 and showers. Right now the temperature is 43 degrees. Troy Polamalu number there. All right, Atlanta. Well, wasn't the best day for Yins folks. The Tigers down the Braves 5-2. The Knicks close out the playoff series against the Hawks with a 140-89 win. Ouch. Well, the high today will be 69 degrees, a low of 53 and rainy. Right now, the temperature in Atlanta is 58 degrees. All right, City of Brotherly Love. The Phils outlasted the Giants last night 3-2. The Phillies head to Miami for the weekend. Sixers tie up the series against the Celtics last night. Game 7 will be tomorrow in Bowtown. Tip-off at 7:30 p.m. High in Philadelphia today of Mario Lemieux, 66 degrees. A low of 50. Right now, the temperature is 46 degrees. Morgantown, look forward to the West Virginia baseball team hosting Kansas State this weekend. A high today of 61 with showers. A low of 36 and mostly cloudy. Right now, the temperature is 38 degrees. A little chilly. All right, Yinzers. Well, what else is new? The Cards swept the Buccos this week. Goody. The Pens, meanwhile, have a very busy weekend ahead, watching everybody else who's still playing in the NHL playoffs. Steelers decline fifth-year option on tackle Broderick Jones. He apparently drew a penalty just reacting to the news. High today in Pittsburgh of 55 and rainy, a low of 36. Right now, the temperature is also 36 degrees. Bringing you today's weather and sports update is the Godzilla Wins radio show for the best insight, analysis, and picks. Watch and listen to Godzilla Wins Saturday mornings, tomorrow morning, in fact, from 9 to 11 all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Plus, to get John's daily sports picks, go to GodzillaWins.com. Once again, that's GodzillaWins.com. This has been Dan Hobgood for the John Fredericks Media Network. Outside the Box with the Ox is next, followed by the incomparable John Fredericks Show. Stay tuned, everyone.
He's the voice of Virginia.
If you watch MS, whatever it's called now, and the like Lee, you've heard how the war with Iran is a no-win scenario for the president. That the Persian Gulf will now be run by Iran in perpetuity. That there won't be meaningful regime change, and Republicans will get hammered in the midterms as a result. But if you listen to or watch virtually any media outlet, they're all pounding on gas prices. NBC News. Gas prices hit $4.23 a gallon, a new high for the year. CNN. Fed's key inflation gauge hits 3.5% as Iran war pushes up gas prices. CNBC advising how to save on car insurance to make up for high gas prices. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. How much have gas prices gone up this week in Wisconsin? See the numbers here. And oil barrels now $130, up from under $100 just a week or so ago. During World War II, they had gas rationing. Didn't matter the price. Americans grew 40% of their own food to help out. Citizens bought $200 billion in war bonds. Coffee, butter, shoes, sugar, tires. We were only allowed to have a little bit. No more evenings and weekends off as civilians poured into factories to work for the country to save the world. Went on for years. So thinking outside the box, 2 months of $1 extra for gas? That's it? To rid the world of the largest sponsor of global terrorism on the cusp of having nuclear-tipped long-range missiles with a stated mission to destroy the free world?
And when do we start training for that?
Here outside the box with the Ox in the Eastern Time Zone and now in West Virginia on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect.
He's the voice of Virginia.
No, you can't. You have one of the worst voices I've ever heard in my life.
And the commander of common sense.
Fire at will, Commander.
Now back to the John Fredericks Show.
You talked about possibly pulling out some troops of Germany. Would you be considering the same thing for Spain and Italy? I mean, they haven't been exactly on board.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably will. Why should I? Look, why shouldn't I? Italy has not been of any help to us, and Spain has been horrible, absolutely horrible. It's NATO. It's not even the fact that they're bad. It's one thing if they said nicely, or if they said, okay, we'll help, but the help's a little slow. But the level, and we helped them with Ukraine. They made a mess out of Ukraine, a total mess. And we helped them with Ukraine. Ukraine has nothing to do, we're an ocean apart. It has to do with them. It's like for them, it's their front door. We help them. And Biden gave them $350 billion, which was insane. It's one of the reasons the war went on. But when we needed them, they were not there. We have to remember that. And so if we ever have a big one, because we didn't need any help with Iran. We had Iran right from the first day. It was over. It was over. And now it's even more so. We're so locked and loaded if we want to do. But we didn't need the help. And to a certain extent, I asked them, I didn't need the help, but I said, yeah, we'd love to have you help because I wanted to see if they do it. And they, in all cases, they said, we don't want to get involved. And the amazing thing is they use the Strait of Hormuz. We don't. We don't use it. We don't need it. We have a lot of oil. Well, wait a minute. And they use it. We don't. And you would have thought they would have said, we would love to help you. But they didn't, which I think was a very... And Germany, I mean... he's doing a terrible job. He's got immigration problems. He's got energy problems. He's got problems of all kinds. And he's got a big problem with Ukraine because they're in that mess. And he criticized me for doing the whole thing with Iran. But I said, would you like to have a nuclear weapon in the hands of Iran? He said, no, I don't. I said, well, then I guess I'm right. He didn't have any answer to that. The bottom line is for this world, for our country, but certainly for Israel, the Middle East, and Europe, much closer, you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And if you agree that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, which most people agree, almost everybody, it should have been done a long time ago. But if you agree they can't have a nuclear weapon, then what I did has been executed perfectly because our military has decimated them. Yeah.
Well, you're on the John Fredericks Media Network and the John Fredericks radio apps. Thank you for being with us today. As always, I'm coming to you live. In Washington, D.C. Excuse me. TGIF. That's all I know. Today is Friday. I'm in the White House pool rotation today, but of course, President Trump flying out of town. So should have been in yesterday. I'd have gotten to go to the Oval Office. So kind of a potluck when you get in the pool. You don't really know what day they're going to do things. Excuse me. It's about a week ahead of time. So they put that out a week ahead of time. So you just don't know. But President Trump yesterday rolling out what I thought was one of the most brilliant plans, which is a 401k match plan that is mirroring federal workers, what federal workers get for small businesses and for small business owners and for small business employees. And they're going to match it. And I think that was the most brilliant thing I've done. It's got to go through Congress. Good luck voting against that if you're running for Congress, right? This is a brilliant plan because, look, we as workers should get what the federal employees get. We should get the same thing they get. I mean, we work 3 times as hard. I know there's a couple out there that really work hard, Marcy McCarthy and others, but there's a lot that don't. And you know it and I know it, right? So they get all this stuff. We get nothing. And President Trump's putting an end to that. So that was brilliant yesterday. He's brought drug prices down. But I tell you, the big news again is, remember I told you yesterday that this hadn't sunk in for the Democrats. The SCOTUS ruling 6-3 eviscerating Section 2.0 of the Civil Rights Act, which now enabled Republican governors with the caveat to get new maps because the gerrymandered majority districts are now unconstitutional. It didn't sink into the Democrats. It took a day to sink in. It took a day for them to realize The party is done. I mean, what happened to them yesterday is incredible. I mean, all the governors have to do is what DeSantis did, what Governor Landry of Louisiana did yesterday, which postponed the primary election because he's got illegal maps. He said they're illegal. I got to follow the Constitution. Special session. I'm going to put the primary off. We're going to get new maps. We're going to comply with the law. Comply with the law. And there's nowhere for the Democrats to go. There's nobody for them to sue, and there's no seats they can gain anywhere, but you got to have the balls to call the special session. The next one has got to be Tennessee. Where's that? Alabama, where's that? Mississippi, Governor Tate Reeves, he's got one coming up on Monday. We got 2 seats there. If you do this right, you got 20 seats. Done. Over. Now, Harmeet Dillon yesterday from the federal level says, look, if the states won't do this, we will. Because this is now a constitutional crisis. The Supreme Court has ruled. It's over. There is no higher court to go to. There is no judge to shop in San Francisco District 9 to overturn something or put a stay. Over. So now we got to act with boldness and clarity like Ron DeSantis did. I got his clip coming up in your face. DeSantis back on the national scene. I said this yesterday. I don't care what you think of him. 2 things you got to admit. Forget 24. He is an extraordinary governor. Maybe the best governor in the history of America, as far as I'm concerned. Unbelievable track record he's got. Forget 24. It's a disaster. And he's acting boldly now to maybe save the House. He says he's got 4 seats. I think he's got 5. I think there's 5 seats there. Supreme Court, Virginia, that ruling is coming. Could be today. Doubtful. Could be next week. Either way, they're not going to let this stand. This was a disaster for the Democrats. I mean, it is just sinking in. Now the Republican governors have to act. Harmeet Dillon yesterday tweeted out, if you don't act, we will. These maps, these gerrymandered maps for minority-majority districts giving Democrats guaranteed seats are gone. Now, you got to change these maps. And you got to get rid of that. And you got to get regular contiguous districts. But it's going to be up to the governors to do this. And Marsha Blackburn yesterday, running for governor, called on Bill Lee. Get a special session today on the Virginia gang. Coming up at, 9:15, Pam Everett, running for governor. South Carolina has called for a special session for McMaster to do it today. She's going to be on the Virginia gang. We got a great show for you today. Things are going our way. Now, you look at Maine, another catastrophe for the Democrats. You see who this candidate is they've got? I've got a couple clips of him too. This guy's bat crap crazy. They ran off, the communist in Maine ran off Janet Mills, who's equally as liberal, but she's not nuts. She was governor for 2 terms, right? She was governor. Can't even win a primary. She had to drop out. She's getting killed in the polls, killed in money. And this guy is a communist bat. He's nuts. Where do you see his clips? This is going to be the Senate candidate for Maine. Collins is going to wipe the floor with this guy. I mean, the Democrats had talk about a lousy, bad, awful day. Yesterday, Akeem Jeffries melting down, laugh my ass off. And all this thing about, gas prices are up, the sky is falling, we're all going to die. We paid more under Biden, and the fake news didn't say a word. Then $5 gas under Biden was fine. $4.50 under Trump because we're trying to stop Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. That's the end of the world. We're all going to die. I mean, I don't care what the poll numbers say. I no longer believe any of this stuff. It's all nonsense. Trump is turning the corner. We're going to end this thing in Iran. They're not going to get a nuclear bomb. We're going to open up the straits. We're going to control it. Maybe it's another month. Maybe it's 6 weeks. I don't know, but it's coming. And then inflation is transitory, not like Janet Yellen lied to you, made it up. It is. because it has to do with oil futures because ships can't get through the strait, and they soon will, and the oil price will come back down. Meantime, we're producing more energy in the U.S. than ever and exporting it. The gas is going to come down again, below where it was. And the economy is going to start to boom. Consumer confidence is up. Manufacturing is up. Job report is up. GDP is up. This is the implosion of the fake news and the Democratic Party, all set up by SCOTUS in one day. So I don't want to repeat what I said yesterday, but the meltdown of the Democrats, and then Harmeet Dillon coming in, who's with the Department of Justice, and said, if the governors don't act, we will. Because these majority districts are unconstitutional. And there's nobody for the Democrats to sue. There's no states where they can get seats. I mean, maybe one in New York, maybe 2 max. That's all they've got. There's no Republicans in all these states. There's nothing they can do. They've already gerrymandered their seats in these blue states into oblivion. Divorce is upon us. We got custody, we got full custody, we got all the property, we got all the money, and they are going to have to walk away with nothing until their blue states collapse. And then they're going to want us in the red states to pay for them, which we're not. And let them deal with it. Let them keep raising taxes until there's nobody there left to pay them. There'll be 2 countries. The enormity of this. Now, as people move, right? I mean, where are Ann and I going to retire to? Tennessee, Florida, ain't going to be here. Although I wouldn't mind it. But everybody's going to these red states that are conservative. So when they do the census in 2030, all these red states are going to gain congressional districts, and the blue states are going to lose congressional districts. Now you add another 20 Republicans in red states where everybody is moving. All the Republicans are moving there. Do the math in your head. I am so ahead of this game. Generational. It'll be 50 years when this is done, if it's done right, 50 years before the Democrats will ever control the House of Representatives. Might do the Senate, don't know about that. Two people per. That's kind of divided, so I get it. But the House, gone for life, which means we have a backstop. And for the people out there saying, oh, it's just a Republican Party, they're all a bunch of rhinos, they're all going to be. No, there's no rhino. Do you know we've run them off? There's a handful in the Senate. The majority in the House once, we ran them off. They all retired. They're gone. They're cooked. This is MAGA 2.0. Last thing we should get, ranked choice voting in Republican primaries, which would ensure a rhino never gets elected to anything ever. But of course, that's going to be hard for some people to fathom because they're still burned by Sarah Palin because they don't understand the math. But that's fine. On that one, you also know I'm right. I was right about early voting. I was right about mail-in ballots. I was right about Section 2.0. It's so hard to be right all the time. Plus, Danny Boy, 2-0 in hockey last night. Made 2 picks on Godzilla wins. Made 2 bets. Won them both. Wild, eliminating the Stars, who I call that, Dan, as you remember, on Godzilla wins before the hockey playoffs started. I picked the Wild to win the series. Bet them last night, winner chicken dinner. Also picked the Ducks over Edmonton, which no one did except me. I picked 2 underdogs. Both win. Caught the Ducks again last night at home in the pond. Anaheim's tough at home, man.
You're amazing with these picks in hockey. I mean, why anybody isn't following you, I don't know.
All I do is give you winners. I mean, it's
all you do is pick winners. Look, you're incredible with these hockey picks. It's kind of a little like I'm wondering like what sort of magic juju beans you're using with it's you got it down, man.
I mean, I have a couple losses in there. I bet the
Did you pick the Pens in Game 6?
I didn't bet the game. I didn't like the game. I just didn't like it.
Neither did the Pens.
I know, but I mean, the game went to overtime. It was a tough game. I didn't like it. I don't like the Pens game. I bet the Sabres. I bet the Sabres at home to finish Boston after winning the 2 games in Boston. I lost that, so I don't win them all, but I'm way up.
You're way up, yeah.
I had two winners.
I will vouch for you. Yeah.
Night on Sunday, I picked 3 out of 4. But the hockey playoffs are. I mean, the 2 games last night. I went to bed. I didn't obviously see the Anaheim game, but that was 5-2. Those were easy wins. But a lot of these going to double overtime.
Yeah, it's been a remarkable playoff so far.
Yeah, it has. It has. So, most dangerous team now in the West, Wild. Nobody wants to play them. Nobody wants to play them.
I know what you're going to say in the East.
Flyers.
Yeah.
Flyers.
Yeah.
I don't want to play the Flyers. Nobody wants to play the Flyers either. Flyers are playing on house money. When you're playing on house money, it changes everything. They're just playing on house money.
Yep.
That's it. They went to the blackjack table with $100. They made 3 bets. They got 3 blackjacks, doubled down. Now they got $1,000 at the table, and they put up 100. It's like party time.
Yeah. What a bad draw for my Pens the first round. I think they would have done better against some other teams, but Flyers are on fire. They're the hot team right now, at least in the East, and the Wild, like you say, in the West. They're playing with house money.
Go to GodzillaWins.com every day, GodzillaWins.com. Get my picks up there. On Sunday, I do a column, which comes out on Sunday. But for all your daily picks, just go to GodzillaWins.com. It's free. Why do we do it? Out of the goodness of our heart. Oh, my goodness. Believe that one. Hey, got a big event coming up on June 16th. I need you to be there. Hey, I got to go to a break. I'll be right back. Coffee's brewing.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Soul Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Soul Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Soul Tea. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
In a time when everything feels political, one place must rise above it all: the courtroom, where the law rules and integrity matters. In 2020, Georgians came together, electing a justice who believes in protecting our courts.
I'm Georgia Supreme Court Justice Sarah Warren, and here's what I believe. I believe in the rule of law, the separation of powers, and a judge's limited role to interpret the law as written. I believe in a nonpartisan judiciary, impartial judges who don't advocate for political positions or outcomes. I believe in deciding cases without bias or favor, treating everyone with dignity and respect. As a justice on your Supreme Court, I've upheld these values. With your support, we'll maintain the integrity of our courts.
Vote to re-elect Justice Sarah Warren. Vote early starting April 27th or on Election Day, May 19th. Paid for by Georgians for Justice Warren, Inc.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Tired of fumbling for your phone, wallet, or keys? Don't put it in your pants, put it in your pocket. Meet T-Pocket, the practical tees, the shirt that keeps it all in reach. Designed in the USA, assembled in the South, these tees feature smart built-in pockets for easy access. long sleeve, short sleeve, available in most colors, with your favorite teams and logos to come later. Shop the full lineup now at tpocket.net. Fast shipping, easy ordering. Grab yours today and level up your everyday carry. Put it in your pocket with T-Pocket. tpocket.net.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you My Pillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our My Pillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our My Pillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door, absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
What happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked, or the second half. We just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half. It sucked. It stunk.
Don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
TGIF, you're on the John Fredericks Media Network. I am your Godzilla of the truth in America. Well, Hakeem Jeffries. I mean, I'm having too much fun. Let me just say something. Can we talk a second? Because this show is about truth and clarity. You know that, right? Truth and clarity. One man with courage makes a majority. I know that's why you tuned me in. So I appreciate that. All of my 5 and 6 a.m. listeners that have been with me forever and ever and ever. I don't take you for granted. I get up every day for you, so thank you. But let's just talk a minute before I have my first sip of my 1775 freshly brewed dark roast coffee, which is waiting. It's got my name on it. Let's just talk for a second, okay? I know that everybody's sometimes gets down about the political climate, right? And you're upset about rhinos and this and that, and you're, texting in caps and all this stuff, and never Trumpers. And listen, the last 2 days are great days. Embrace the victory. Okay? It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. Embrace it. Get a spring in your step. Stop worrying about rhinos and never Trumpers. They're irrelevant. They no longer matter. None of the candidates coming up can ever win with that label because we have taken control of the party apparatus. In these nominating situations, they can't win anymore because in every single primary, we've got more money and better people. And they can't win. So the griping and the grousing and this is, and I know a lot of you guys have got and gals that got PTSD. You've got, I'm going to call it political MAGA PTSD. And you're just, you hear a gunshot go off and you dive under the table. I mean, I get it. It's just somebody like dropped the garbage can. I mean, I get what you're going through. I really do. But the reason I'm so fired up, none of that matters now. That is all in the rear view mirror. Look forward, look ahead. And what you're looking ahead of, if the Republican governors get off their fat butts and get this done, you're looking at a generational MAGA House of Representatives majority that you cannot shake loose in 50 years, which will protect you from the communists. It will protect you forever in your lifetime and that of your kids. If you look at Maine and what just happened there, I mean, Janet Mills is a libtard beyond belief, but she was a two-term governor. She had to drop out of the race because a communist was out polling her and out fundraising her, and she was backed by Schumer. Their party is in a shambles. It is run by communists. They have taken over, and there's nowhere for them to go. The fault, like, you know what? Number one thing that Napoleon said, what did he say? Other than one man with courage makes a majority. The other thing Napoleon said is, if your enemy is imploding, get out of the way. We need to just get out of the way. Let them implode. Laugh your tail off. Enjoy the moment. Carpe diem. Seize this opportunity. No grousing. No complaining. This isn't a time for that. This is a time for rejoicing and work. And get these maps done. And get this census done. And they'll never have the majority again. This is the beauty of what has happened in one day. And I don't care what the fake news is saying. Well, you know, the Democrats could do. The Democrats can't do anything. Look at Hakeem. I got some of these clips here. I mean, you look at these people, the meltdowns they're having. Because they know, like I did yesterday, they're done. And the Democratic Party is being taken over by the communists, which I also told you 2 years ago was coming down the pike. And it's right there. Their leader is Mandami. Their leader is this imbecile in Maine. This is incredible. I mean, this is a seat they can actually win. They just gave it to us. They just handed Susan Collins a gift card. Here's $1 million gift card. Do what you want with it. She can't lose that. This guy's not going to beat her. That's why I'm going on a bus tour in Maine. Look, is she perfect? No. But the other guy's a communist. Right? Nobody's perfect except our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who died 2,000 years ago. Nobody else is perfect. Right? Chill. Be happy. I want you to go in this weekend being happy. Don't be telling me about rhinos and never Trumpers and the party and forget all that. None of that matters now. As far as the Supreme Court is concerned, all the bad decisions they made, all the time Robert screwed us and Amy Coney Barrett screwed us, the tariffs, right down the line, stabbed in the back, all is forgiven. All debts are forgiven. All IOUs, I return them. We got a clean slate because you made the most impactful decision in 100 years, which is getting rid of these districts, which has cemented a power base for the Democrats, which just evaporated in one ruling. And they have built on this and built on it, and now it is gone. And now they actually have to win an election based on what they're doing, not on race. That's why they're screwed 7 days to Wednesday. And it's a beautiful thing. Okay, we got some clips here. I'm just having too much fun. Oh, first, Dan, before we get to my DeSantis clip, what number is DeSantis clip? Dan, am I having too much fun today, Dan? It's Friday. I'm just having a blast.
No such thing as too much fun on a Friday there, JF.
I'm just having too much fun. And I don't want to hear anybody on the chat complaining in caps about rhinos. They don't exist. They're in the Senate. They'll all go. Don't worry about it. They're meaningless. Right? Thune's got to pass the say back. We got Trump. I got that clip coming up. But here, let me get to DeSantis. I got so many good clips here. We got such a great show. Let's see. Where can we get DeSantis? I got him. Oh, here it is. 12. Ron DeSantis, Governor DeSantis, does an impression of Hakeem Jeffries amid feud. He said, F around and find out. Okay, 12, roll it. And then where was the Trump clip blasting the, do I have that one in here where he was.
Is it 9? Saying that Jeffries is a low IQ person? What an insult. That is the best insult ever. You're just a low IQ person.
Oh my God.
His sayings
so
or something
we got,
else.
Get these up. We're gonna do DeSantis, and then we're gonna do 5 and 9. But yes, cut 12, the DeSantis impression of Jeffries. DeSantis back on the national stage.
Our message to Florida Republicans is F around and find out.
He's like, we're going to do maximum warfare against Republicans. Florida Republicans, you F around, you going to find out.
Well, they did, and they did. They're going to lose 5 seats. For you anti-DeSantis people out there, here's another word of advice. Stop. We're all on the same team now. There's no Trump versus DeSantis. That's gone. That's put all that in the past. Everybody gets a free pass now. You want to win, you got to win with the team you got. Everybody gets a pass. No grudges. Go forward, not backward. This is my attitude. We're all getting the pass. We want change. Go get change. This is change. DeSantis represents change. He's got the balls to do it. So does Landry in Louisiana. So does Tate Reeves in Mississippi. Quiet guy, doesn't say much. Sometimes it's the quiet guys you got to look out for. All right, let's get to President Trump slamming Hakeem Jeffries yesterday. 9, roll it.
The Democrats essentially want to defund the police, just so you know. They want to defund law enforcement. It's crazy. These people have gone crazy. I heard Hakeem Jeffries, a low IQ person. He's a very low IQ, screaming today that the Supreme Court is illegitimate. I mean, that's a dangerous statement. Then if I say something modest, they say, oh, he's a king, he's a king. They're sick. But Hakeem Jeffries said the Supreme Court is illegitimate. That's a rough statement. If I made that statement, it would be the biggest story out there. Bad things would happen.
It's low IQ. Oh my God. Let's get to cut 5. Here's President Trump calling for the ending of the ridiculous John Thune filibuster. Roll it. 5.
You pushed on True Social, calling on Senate Republicans to blow up the filibuster. It is a big issue with MAGA. MAGA wants you to get rid of it.
They should
Why
do
don't
it.
they do it?
Why don't they do it?
I don't know.
I have no idea. You know why? I guess because they have 3 or 4 that are like hard line. The same ones that are hard line, no to everything. And if you don't have all of them, we have a very small majority. John Thune's a good man. I said to him, John, just go take the vote. Let's expose who the people are. Yep. But, if we got rid of the filibuster, we could vote on the Save America Act, voter ID. You act so good. I love this. He's a great guy. Even though I don't love his girlfriend too much, I won't tell you who the girlfriend is. But I like him, and I've always liked him. It's great that he hasn't changed. But Brian, I think here's the problem. It's not even imaginable to me why. And people are angry about it. I'm talking about Republicans are angry about it. The filibuster should be terminated. If the Democrats ever get a shot, which probably, based on history, sometime they will use it in the first minute of the first hour, and they will execute all of the bad things. 21 justices, they really like 21. I heard 13, but they really want 21 Supreme Court justices. And they really want to have D.C. and Puerto Rico become states. That would mean automatic 4 senators go into the Democrat column. And there's not even a chance that they don't do it and do it immediately. Now, with that knowledge, because you could argue whether it's good or bad, but I don't think it's that much of an argument, frankly. But you could argue, with that knowledge that they're going to do it immediately, why wouldn't you do it as a Republican? Unless you have bad motives almost. But if we did it, we could pass one bill after the other. We could pass laws and acts and things that we never even dreamt of passing. And you know what else? We wouldn't lose for 50 years.
Looks like he listened to my narrative yesterday. This is the same thing, right? He does tune me in. If you're listening now, Mr. President, thank you. Always good to have him on. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. He basically has said almost word for word everything I've been saying for weeks, right? That they would blow it up in the first minute that they were there and pass all this stuff. And we don't do it, but you need to do it, but etc. So, okay. You want to weigh in? 888-480-JOHN, TGIF, 888-480-5646. Before you do that, I have to have a sip of my 1775 freshly brewed dark roast coffee. Hang on. In my Maryland cup. Damn, that is good coffee, Dan. I can't believe how good that coffee is. It is so good. That is great coffee. Hang on. I got one more sip. You know what? From day to day, Dan, I forget how great this coffee is. Smooth yet bold. Best coffee I've ever had. I travel with it. I won't leave home without it. Now, unfortunately, I have to travel with a Keurig maker with it because half the hotel rooms now don't have that. So I got to bring that with me. Doesn't matter. You know, Ann and I are going on vacation. We're on vacation, Dan. By the way, July 23rd through whatever that next week is. Vacation. We're going to be out of the country and have a little R&R. By the way, we've been married. I think Ann said come May, it's 30 years or something. Something like that. Long time. So we're going to go on vacation. Maybe I'll get Reed to sit in for me. If I remember that, I'll text him now. Text Reed. See if he can sit in for me. You guys who can play like WRVA like the old days. I'm here for you, Danny boy. 888-480-JOHN. You want to weigh in. But my coffee, Dan, it's so good. Now, I urge everybody, this is the official coffee of the John Fredericks Media Network. 1775 coffee. You know why it's so good, Dan? Beans are in Bolivia. Coffee beans are from Bolivia, one of the highest mountains. But here's the key. They're fresh roasted daily. See, other companies, they'll take the beans, they'll ship them, they'll freeze dry them, this, that. No. These are fresh roasted daily, which makes it bolder, better, smoother, and relatively inexpensive. Now, somebody said the other day, I was at CPAC, they said, oh, we drink Warpath. Do you know that is $2 a pod? If you're doing the Keurig, it's $2. The hell's got $2 for a cup of coffee? Mine's like 80 cents, 75 cents. Right here. Priced right. I don't want to gouge people for profit. I would never do that. You guys know that. 888-480-JOHN. Go to 1775coffee.com. 1775coffee.com. Promo code Gazelle. Boom. 10% off for you. Because we love you guys. And you're going to love this coffee as well, Dan. Dan knows he's not a coffee drinker. Dan, I understand your father is coming on the Virginia Gang today.
Yeah, he's really excited about it.
Is that a true rumor?
That's a true rumor, which I guess means it's not even a rumor anymore. But I actually went to my parents' place. My dad is 74 years old. He's a very youthful 74. But as with people who are that age, maybe not the most tech savvy. So I went over to their place last night to make sure that he was all set up and ready to go. Because you know how it is on this show. We like our guests to have their I's dotted, their T's crossed, to be ready to go for video and everything. So we just want to make sure it's a smooth appearance for him today. But yeah.
All good. You're a good son, right?
Yeah, and well, he's a good dad. I'm I pale in comparison to him. He's a great man. I'm like the Danny DeVito twin. It's like I'm the leftovers. I'm the scraps. But
I get the texting. The other night I had to call Joe while he was on the road in Lansing, Michigan. I think they played Michigan State last weekend. So after the game was over, I had to wait till he got to his hotel. I had to call him and ask him to walk me through how to get the hockey game on. Like I had no idea how to get the hockey game because I got to go to some channel or something. I had no idea.
What provider do you use for do you use cable still or
no?
Okay.
We got rid of cable. I mean, I have Direct TV.
Direct TV? Okay.
I have Direct TV, but then we have Roku, so it's all app based. But I do have Direct TV because you can't get the regular channels, so I have that. But then you got to get YouTube Live to get the football, the NFL ticket.
Okay.
And then you got the ESPN Plus. I had to download like the Big 10
all
app,
the apps,
the Big 12 app.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find out how to get a hockey game. Whichever one I wanted, I couldn't find it out. It was on at 10 o'clock on Friday night. I don't even remember who was playing Anaheim, I think. So I had to wait till he got to his hotel and he had to tell me how to get that. I mean, I don't know how to do all this stuff.
Well, it feels like everything is somehow internet-based these days. I mean, I think even DirecTV, I think they're doing streaming stuff now, I think, through internet rather than satellite. I think. I was a DirecTV customer years and years ago when they had Sunday Ticket. But yeah, that was back.
Yeah, well, now you got to buy it. You got to download the app. It's YouTube TV Live.
Yeah.
To get the NFL ticket, which of course I can't live without. And then of course I get the Astro games on MLB. You got to pay for that. That's an app. And then of course, this is the disaster. So I'm not watching the game to the extent that I did.
Not predicting the World Series for the Astros anymore, huh?
No, we just the whole team's hurt. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs. Worst record now in the American League. It's horrible. But but then I get the Big 10 app, the Big 12 app, this app, that app, and what else you got to pay for all this stuff. But it's very convoluted. It's tough to find these games. I mean, you got to really be savvy about how to do this.
Well, I'm a YouTube TV guy now, so I switched over before they got Sunday Ticket, so that was serendipitous. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm back with the home of Sunday Ticket if I choose to make that large expenditure. And get it.
Well, you almost have to. I mean, if you're a football fan,
it's amazing to be able to watch all those games.
You just have to. I mean,
yeah.
Especially if you like me, I bet football don't do as well on football as they do in hockey. I make all the money doing hockey, then lose it all back on football by Thanksgiving Day. It's all gone, right?
Well, part of the reason the football is the number one sport in the country now. No sport looks better on TV than football. Right. Football benefits so much from television coverage.
If you don't live in the city of your team, then you have no choice. Like I want to watch Titans play, you got to get an NFL ticket.
Sure.
So it is what it is. But then you got other games on. But what was it the other day? I was trying to watch something and it was I had to pay for. So the Astros are playing the Orioles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So second game of the doubleheader. I figured, well, they already got blown out in the first game. When I see how Colors is doing, so I put on MLB. Oh no, I can't have that. Blacked out. I have to buy MASN or something.
Okay, yeah, for local coverage.
And that's like $30-$40 a month. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like I don't care about the Orioles or the Nats. Like, but I couldn't watch the game, so I was blacked out because I had to buy MASN because they're playing the Orioles. Like screw that. So it's just it's just annoying. 888-480, John, you want to weigh in? 888-480-5646. Got plenty of clips coming up. We've got a great lineup for everybody today. Absolutely fantastic. We've got Colonel Dunn is going to be with us. We got the Virginia Gang at 9. We're going to be talking about the redistricting. We've got your father on. We've got Lieutenant Governor Everett of South Carolina running for governor. She's going to be on the Virginia Gang. All coming up right here in the John Fredericks Media Network. And President Trump on fire. What he did yesterday with this 401k plan match for non-federal workers, saying you guys deserve what everybody else gets here in the federal government. I thought that was brilliant. Look, all this stuff is going to come down the pike. This is why I'm so optimistic about the future and why this decision by the Supreme Court is landmark and generational. And nobody is getting it. It's amazing. John Fredericks Media Network. Stay with us with your calls. 888-480-JOHN. Colonel Dunn next. Also, AI Meltdown coming up.
Bon Air Chester, 100.5, 107.7, 92.7 FM, AM 820, and WJFB Portsmouth, AM 1650.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The long partial government shutdown finally over. For more than 70 days, congressional Democrats refused to fund immigration enforcement. Republicans used a procedure called budget reconciliation to get the job done. President Trump signed the bill, and House Speaker Mike Johnson says, here we are.
The net result of passing our reconciliation bill is that ICE and CBP are funded for 3 years, and Democrats got absolutely nothing for their political charade and shenanigans out of that.
Giving his GOP colleagues a pat on the back.
In spite of our razor-thin, historically small majority, House Republicans continue to deliver for the American people. We will continue to do that for the remainder of the year, and that is a large reason why we are going to win the midterms so that the grown-ups can stay in charge here.
While gas prices continue to soar, President Trump says once the Iran war is over, they'll come down quickly. The president says despite its outward defiance, the Islamic Republic is anxious to make a deal to bring the conflict to a close. Today's national average for regular gas, according to AAA, $4.39 per gallon. An accused would-be presidential assassin isn't going anywhere.
A man accused of trying to storm the White House Correspondents Association dinner with guns and knives and attempting to kill President Donald Trump has agreed to remain jailed. Cole Thomas Allen did not enter a plea during his brief appearance before a judge in Washington, D.C., but the defense left the door open to possibly pressing for Allen's release before trial in the future. Prosecutors say Allen planned his attack for weeks and tracked Trump's movements online. He faces up to life in prison if convicted on the assassination count alone. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
On Wall Street this morning, stock futures have been mixed. Dow futures up 137, NASDAQ futures down 38. More on these stories, townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-0141.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141.
Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
It's May Day, always was a big holiday in the old Soviet Union, and it still draws activists to the streets of cities worldwide.
Workers in the Philippines clashed with police near the U.S. Embassy in the capital, Manila, on Friday. They're demanding higher wages following record spikes in fuel and commodity prices and a stop to the fighting in the Middle East. Workers across Taiwan demonstrated in the capital Taipei to press for stronger retirement protections, chanting increased retirement benefits as they marched. In Indonesia's capital Jakarta, workers chanted slogans against the controversial job creation law and rampant corruption. Activists in the U.S. opposing President Donald Trump's policies are also planning marches. I'm Karen Shamas.
Iran's 90 million people have been cut off from the global internet for most of the year, one of the world's longest and strictest national shutdowns. News and analysis at townhall.com. Amtrak's considering allowing people to store guns in lockboxes on most of its trains.
Critics say that would weaken security measures that instead should be strengthened in light of the shooting at last weekend's White House Correspondents Association dinner. Amtrak hasn't abandoned the proposed plan despite Saturday's attack at the Washington, D.C. event. They say the Trump administration started pushing for Amtrak to make the change months ago. Authorities say a California man traveled by rail across the country with his guns intent on killing President Trump and other administration officials. Keith Peters, Washington.
The Onion's plan to transform Alex Jones' InfoWars platforms into parody sites are in limbo again. New legal filings by Jones led a Texas appeals court to pause a proposed deal. It would give the satirical news outlet control over InfoWars as it faces liquidation. More on these stories, townhall.com.
All right, folks, I need you to do something right now. Go to johnfredericksradio.com and take our brand new 2028 Republican presidential straw poll. Who do you want leading the ticket? Don't let the elites decide. Make your voice heard. While you're there, weigh in on two huge issues: eminent domain reform and President Trump's tariff policies. Are they protecting American workers or hurting growth? This is your movement, your vote, your voice, your choice. Go to johnfredericksradio.com right now and take the poll. President Trump is already transforming Washington, D.C., making it the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful city in the world. But we need fighters on the ground to keep it going. I'm John Fredericks, and I'm running for chairman of D.C. GOP Ward 2 to make sure Trump's vision for this city becomes a reality. Safe streets, clean neighborhoods, and yes, rat-free. Go to MakeDCGreat.com. That's MakeDCGreat.com right now and send a donation. Let's finish what President Trump started. Donation limit $200. I'm John Fredericks, and I paid for this ad.
The Truth with John Gordon.
A strong argument can be made that we need a certain number of illegal immigrants to work menial and in some cases dangerous jobs.
Get all the truth you can handle and more.
Immigrants seem willing to do those jobs. American workers do not.
What?
I'm sorry, I just call them like I see them, folks.
Saturday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
I tell you the truth as best I know it.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging calcium alpha-ketoglutarate, which has been clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Ponder this. We intake oxygen every time we breathe, and breathing is how we stay alive. When God first created man, he breathed life into him. Our Lord also breathed spiritual life into his apostles and filled them with the Holy Spirit at the first Pentecost. Oxygen is a source of life both physically and spiritually. It's the same with fire. Oxygen is needed in order to keep a fire burning, which begs the question, are you on fire for the Lord, or has your spiritual oxygen been extinguished? To answer this, we must go to the source. The source of our spiritual oxygen is the Lord himself. Without him, there is no life within us. Those are his words, not mine. We are called to tap into this life source by baptism, daily prayer, and receiving the sacraments, especially Holy Communion if you are a Catholic, in the state of grace. If we tap into this life source every day, our lives will be filled with the love of the Lord, our spiritual oxygen. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Very much, and you do a great job.
He's your Godzilla of the truth in America.
It's Godzilla!
No gibberish or nonsense, just common sense. And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, TGIF. I am your Godzilla of the truth in America. Truth and clarity, one man with courage, as you know, makes a majority. Great to have you with us. We've got we got a super lineup coming today. I got so many people lined up. I kind of forgot. I know I've got the governor, right? Governor of Indiana is coming up at 8. Mike Braun, total vindication. So the governor of Indiana, definitely looking forward to that. Remember, I went there for a week. We've got William Burner Dunn is going to be with us in a couple of minutes. Rob Crilly coming in studio live. Governor Mike Braun, reporter McCabe, my man in the street, 8:30. Then we got the Virginia gang, Lieutenant Governor South Carolina Pam Everett. So a lot going on. This segment brought to you by my great friend Susie Kelly, my Catholic friend in arms, I would say, right? Going to church tomorrow night. What's Saturday night, right? St. Anne's is our church in Washington, D.C. here. But this brought to you by passionatelycatholic.org. And Susie Kelly and her ponderful moments, never want to miss those. She's been with us 15 years. They're very inspiring. And you should go to her website and say something nice to her. You can send her a nice message off her site. She'll always respond back to you. She's on her show a lot. But you want to go to passionatelycatholic.org, passionatelycatholic.org. And there was ever a time to re-engage with your Catholicism, if you're a Catholic and your Catholic faith, it's right now with everything going on. Passionatelycatholic.org, that's her site. And just a wonderful lady and so spiritually gifted she is. And her ponderful moments are just phenomenal. They're so inspiring. I don't know how she comes up with them. But every month we get a new batch. I think we got about 250 of them now. So she does a super job. Just go to passionatelycatholic.org, passionatelycatholic.org, and always our best and prayers go to our good friend, Susie Kelly, who's sponsoring this segment. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Joining me now, Colonel William Burner Dunn. And of course, he's an author. He's also retired. Knows a lot what's going on, and we're going to get his take here. Colonel, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, John, good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Always good to get you, Colonel. So every week we have you on. Every Friday, things are changing.
Yes.
Now there's a level of frustration by us, people like me that were for like getting in and out in 2 weeks, and now I just want to finish a job. I don't know why they would ever control the straits again. This is Iran. I don't know why we just don't bomb them into oblivion and get rid of them. Obviously, there's uranium there because they won't give it to us. So if they didn't have it, they'd say, fine, come in and get it. We don't have it. They have it. So President Trump has been proved to be right. But now there's just frustration because we're just standing around. Nothing's really happening except this choke off. Where do we go from here, Colonel?
Well, the big key, you hit the nail on the head, is the stress of doing nothing. And that is actually a huge stressor for our men and women in service, because I've been off a coast many times, off Albania, off Kosovo, off all kind of areas, just waiting to do something. And it becomes very stressful for the men and women that are out there in the uniform because they're not at home. Their deployments have been extended. That starts to take a toll. And then what the country is seeing is a stalemate, if you will, even though that's really not what's happening, but that's what it looks like. And then you get that rhetoric that we're turning into a quagmire. Now, I agree we should not just go blow up all the economic targets. I do think taking out, and maybe they're planning this, some more of this regime is probably a requirement. But you hit the nail on the head. We cannot leave this without truckloads of enriched uranium in U.S. possession. Because if we don't, we're going to get eaten alive by the Democrats, by our own countrymen are going to say this is a bad thing. So we've got to do something there. So I look at it this way. It's going to be a complex plan, but they've got to find a way to get that. And if that is going to be through force, so be it. But I suspect that our intel folks, as well as the Israeli intel folks, are building plans to get in, get that stuff, and get out, maybe by taking out more regime, or maybe by working with internal Iranians that, just want to get this over with. But I think we're going to see something quick. I said that a few weeks ago. that something was going to happen, and that was the blockade, which was brilliant. But now we cannot just keep, we can't. Well, I guess we can. I guess we could keep the blockade forever. That doesn't play well for midterms. It doesn't play well for the reality on the battlefield.
What did you think of the Democrat? There was a Democrat congressman yesterday saying that our Navy has turned into pirates because we're occupying civilian vessels because it's a part of the blockade. I mean, do you ever get the feeling that the Democrats are rooting for us to lose?
Oh, I absolutely do. And you know what they're really worried about? They're really worried about is getting into World War 14. Right? You saw that. World War 11. I mean, come on. We're dealing with some people here that have cerebral bankruptcy, I believe, and they're putting our men and women at risk because they're playing into the rhetoric of the Iranian regime. So it's a terrible thing. I agree with you. I think they want us to take massive casualties. They would rather take massive casualties so that they can go and point a finger at President Trump than for us to have a seamless victory.
And no nuclear threat from Iran. They don't seem to care about that. I mean, they keep saying this is a war of choice and it was not an imminent threat. And I asked this question and nobody can answer it, Colonel. And it's simple, okay? If it was not an imminent threat, and the one thing that stands in the way of peace with them is giving up their enriched uranium, but this is the enriched uranium the Democrats are saying they don't have. So if they don't have it, why won't they give up what they don't have and end the war?
Exactly. But here's the other thing that many folks are missing the point. You do not want to wait till your adversary becomes an imminent threat. If you don't take action to the left of that imminent threat, then people die. Americans die. Because once that threat becomes imminent, right? And remember, we're talking maybe the imminency is a day or two away. You don't wait till they have a nuclear weapon before you attack. And so that's what they're implying. Well, we should have waited till they had a nuclear weapon, then struck. Well, that's insane. So we did the right mission. We did the right mission at the right time. The challenge becomes making sure that when we come out on the other side of this, that we have proven, because unfortunately we have to prove that to the naysayers, if you will, that the enriched uranium was there. If we don't get it, they're going to continue saying, and remember, it doesn't really matter what the truth is to the Dems. What will matter is what they can print and what they can put on social media and what they can get with other media outlets to just say there was no uranium. That's what I think is going to be the next thing.
I mean, it's just incredible when you see what the Democrats are saying and then the fake news, how they're spinning this. Now, last time you were on, you wanted us to take the 5 islands, not Karg. You said that was too complicated, but you wanted us to take the 5 islands around the straits. Do you still have that position, Colonel Dunn?
Well, I think it is a good idea to do that, although this blockade may have negated that potential requirement.
Why?
Well, because we're controlling the seas. So as long as we can control the sea right there and control the strait, then we don't need to do it on land. And, whenever you put troops on the ground, right, which sometimes I'm a favor of, sometimes I'm not, but you absolutely increase the risk to those men and women that are on the ground because, the drone threat, any other missile threat they have, or just, AK-47 threat. It's always real. It's always there.
I want to get your comments here, Dan. Let's cue up cut 17. This is Secretary Hegseth yesterday. He was grilled by the Democrats, obviously, and he said the concept of our diversity is our strength is the single dumbest phrase in military history. Of course, he got all kinds of flack over this, but I want to get your reaction to it, Dan. If you can, let's roll. Take a listen to Pete Hegseth here yesterday at the hearings, 17.
I haven't talked about it as much in these hearings because this is a budget hearing about $1.5 trillion that's historic and significant. But underwriting the change that we've seen at our department was a laser focus on getting back to basics. And the key word to that is merit. We had a department that was obsessed with gender, ideology, and race, diversity, equity, and inclusion. In fact, the mantra you would hear dripping from the lips of generals and with a serious look on their face was, "Our diversity is our strength," which is the single dumbest phrase in military history. Of course, our diversity is not our strength. Our unity is our strength, our shared purpose, the flag we wear, and the Constitution we serve to defend. And when you clear that debris away, whether it's Marxist ideologies or social engineering or political correctness or quotas based on gender and diversity, you get the best of the best rising up, regardless of gender, regardless of race, motivated by that environment where merit reigns. It's accountability, standards, lethality, readiness, training, all the debris wiped away. That is the secret sauce of the revival of the War Department and why Americans are attracted to serving in it and why those inside it, why morale is sky high. And any insinuation that it is not are coming from folks who haven't been in our units recently. Go visit the troops at every level, and their morale is at record level.
And I want to talk reaction, Colonel Dunn.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. What our strength is, meritocracy is our strength. If you are putting anybody in command of your sons and daughters as an American who allowed your children, if you will, obviously sometimes when they're 18, you can't allow them, but your children go and join the military. Every American parent should demand that there is no such thing as DEI. They should demand meritocracy. So only the best men and women, regardless of race, gender, or ideology, are commanding and leading their sons and daughters. You would never take a doctor that was number 10 on the list just because he or she was a certain race, gender, or ideology to do heart surgery on your children. You would want the best, and that's how it always has to be. We cannot put men and women in harm's way being led by anybody that is just been promoted solely because of their gender, their race, or their ideology. It's criminal. It should be illegal. And I like what the Supreme Court did yesterday for some voting things. And hopefully we'll see in the future that all of this becomes a thing of the past.
So let's get to President Trump here and on Iran. And he says, we have a problem because nobody knows who the leaders are. Dan, we're going to get up cut number 11. I'm going to get Colonel Dunn's reaction to this as well. Like, who are we dealing with here, right? 11, Dan, roll it.
Well, I mean, I don't know what stubborn is because really nobody knows what the talks are except myself and a couple of other people. They want to make a deal badly. And we have a problem because nobody knows for sure who the leaders are. It's a little bit of a problem, you know. The leaders have been wiped out along with their military, almost all of their military. I mean, think of it. 159 ships was their total Navy. 159 ships are gone. They're underwater. They're way below sea level. Sea level is a big difference. Pretty deep waters over there, too. So, I don't know that we need it. We might need it.
Reaction, Colonel.
Yeah, that's a legit problem. We've taken out most of their leaders. That is always a challenge. We, the world, is going to have to ultimately pick who we think is in charge if they don't, and start dealing with that individual or individuals, that group. This is always a problem. And this goes back to when we fired the military and we fired the government in Iraq. That led to a 20-year war because we had no one to deal with, right?
Right. So
at some point, someone has to emerge. And I am certain that we call them the others, our SOF, our CIA folks. I'm sure they're working behind the scenes trying to figure out who they're going to negotiate with. And at some point, an actual leader in Iran will emerge, whether it is we'll call him a good guy or a bad guy. Time will tell, right? But someone's going to emerge. I still don't believe that the son of the Ayatollah, the new Ayatollah, is alive. We've still not seen him. If he is alive, he's probably incapacitated. We have not seen him since he went underground. And so he's probably not the leader. And what what happened in Somalia around Mogadishu is you had these different warlords running around. And so they were fighting each other to take control and command. And that may or may not be happening inside Iran. It's interesting. We're not seeing hardly any intel reports that are being publicized coming out of Iran showing what the scene on the ground is right there. That surprised me. I would suspect we would see a little more of that with some of the ways we can get information.
So either the son of the Ayatollah is dead or he's totally incapacitated because you've never seen him, right?
Right.
Never since the bombing. They claimed he was sanctioned in charge, but you've never seen him. Nobody knows where he is, or even if, like you say, he's alive. But then you go a little deeper and you go to the IRGC, and like when they sent the foreign minister to Pakistan, who made some proclamations, the IRG immediately disputed all of it. So obviously the foreign minister has no say here. That was just basically a facade in sending him. So it's got to be the IRGC, but nobody really knows who's in charge of this thing. And that is, like you say, there's a vacuum there and a real issue. But IRGC has the guns. Probably they got the hardliners. Probably they're making the decisions. I want to get to cut 7 here, Dan. I'm not sure why we still have troops in Germany and Japan. And I didn't even know we had troops in Italy. I had no idea. Like, why do we have troops in Italy? I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? The average American doesn't realize these troops have been there since the end of the Second World War. We still got bases there. We're paying for it. They don't do anything to help us. Like, why are we there? Here's Trump yesterday, cut 7, saying that troops from Italy and Spain, Italy has not been any help. Either is Spain. They've been horrible. Why are we there? Roll it.
You talked about possibly pulling out some troops out of Germany. Would you be considering the same thing for Spain and Italy? I mean, they haven't been exactly on board.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably will. Why should I? Look, why shouldn't I? Italy has not been of any help to us. And Spain has been horrible. Absolutely horrible. It's NATO. It's not even the fact that they're bad. It's one thing if they said nicely, or if they said, okay, we'll help, but the help's a little slow. But the level, and we helped them with Ukraine. They made a mess out of Ukraine, a total mess. And we helped them with Ukraine. Ukraine has nothing to do, we're an ocean apart. It has to do with them. It's like for them, it's their front door. We help them. And Biden gave them $350 billion, which was insane. It's one of the reasons the war went on. But when we needed them, they were not there. We have to remember that. And so if we ever have a big one, because we didn't need any help with Iran. We had Iran right from the first day. It was over. It was over. And now it's even more so. We're so locked and loaded if we want to do. But we didn't need the help. And to a certain extent, I asked them, I didn't need the help, but I said, yeah, we'd love to have you help because I wanted to see if they do it. And they, in all cases, they said, we don't want to get involved. And the amazing thing is they use the Strait of Hormuz. We don't. We don't use it. We don't need it. We have a lot of oil. Well, wait a minute. And they use it. We don't. And you would have thought they would have said, we would love to help you. But they didn't, which I think was a very... And Germany, I mean... he's doing a terrible job. He's got immigration problems. He's got energy problems. He's got problems of all kinds. And he's got a big problem with Ukraine because they're in that mess. And he criticized me for doing the whole thing with Iran. But I said, would you like to have a nuclear weapon in the hands of Iran? He said, no, I don't. I said, well, then I guess I'm right. He didn't have any answer to that. The bottom line is for this world, for our country, but certainly for Israel, the Middle East, and Europe, much closer, you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And if you agree that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, which most people agree, almost everybody, it should have been done a long time ago. But if you agree they can't have a nuclear weapon, then what I did has been executed perfectly because our military has decimated them. Yeah.
All right, reaction to this whole thing. Why do we still have troops in Italy, Spain, Germany, Japan? Why?
Well, that's a great question, but the reality is it's a form of engagement, right? And whenever we're not there, that allows for one of our adversaries like China or Russia to become there. Now, Russia's not obviously going to move there, but one of the garden spots that I've spent a lot of time in is a place called Djibouti, right? It's a pretty cool place. We do a lot of training there. And the last time I was there, which was, almost a decade ago, I started seeing Chinese military show up all over the place. And so what the Chinese were doing is they had put their own base there in Djibouti with the Djiboutian government allowing that, and they were doing training. And so wherever we're not, somebody can fill in. The other thing is Sigonella, Italy, right? I have planned missions out of Sigonella, Italy into Libya. Every time I did a Marine Expeditionary Unit, I stopped in Rota, Spain, every single time. We have bases there that do maintenance, that do support. So we have a presence mission. That's one of the things the United States has always done, is we have a presence mission around the globe. We want everybody to see U.S. ships, U.S. military personnel in all these places, because that shows the world that we can go anywhere. If we cut these bases out and they're gone, then if something does happen, it's very hard, even though you can do it, but it's very hard to restart them and get them up and going. And that's the challenge. I went to a base in Kuwait. I had to bring an entire unit there called Marine Aircraft Group 40. And we had a base. We called it a warm base. The Air Force had used it, but that was in Kuwait. And we were able to do that quickly because we had that relationship. That's why we want to keep those bases.
All right, Colonel, thank you for that insight. People want to buy your book. Where do they go?
Just go to a simple place, Amazon.com, Gunfighters Rule. You'll be able to pick up a copy, and I think you'll enjoy it.
All right, Colonel Dunn, thanks for being with us.
Yes, sir. John, thanks for having me.
Have a nice weekend. Rob Crilly in the house coming up next.
Secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need sat phones. Sat phones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your sat phone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Buddy Carter, warrior, great guy.
President Trump and Buddy Carter are working to help Georgians keep more of what they earn by passing the largest tax cut in history, eliminating taxes on tips and overtime, and making the child tax credit permanent.
Buddy Carter, warrior, great guy.
From day one, Buddy Carter has stood with President Trump on his mission to make life more affordable for working families. But while President Trump and Buddy Carter were protecting our wallets, Congressman Mike Collins was abusing them. Congressman Collins is under federal investigation for misusing taxpayer funds to benefit himself and his cronies. According to the investigation report, Congressman Mike Collins, quote, may have violated federal law by shelling out government funds to one of his top aides. Georgia families have had enough of wasteful, corrupt career politicians. We just can't trust or afford Mike Collins. Paid for by Buddy Carter for Senate.
I'm Buddy Carter, and I approve this message.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's HealthyCell.com. Code GODZILLA for 20% off.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
John Fredericks.
It is the most egregious thing I've seen in a lifetime.
President Trump.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
When politics start getting wild,
They want to have every single thing that you don't want. Raise.
Don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
Oh, you're back on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. Coming live, Washington, D.C., Rob Crilly in the house, Governor Mike Brewer in Indiana, 8 o'clock. Don't want to miss that. Then we go to Neil McCabe somewhere roaming around Washington, D.C., plus your calls for Rob Crilly, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. And, of course, Rob, as you know, is, he's with the WashingtonExaminer.com, and he does his column every day, Secrets. Go to WashingtonExaminer.com/secrets, WashingtonExaminer.com/secrets. And I know he's going to be excited about our big campaign event coming up on June 16th. He's going to be pumped. I know he's going to cover it, Rob, aren't you?
I'll put it in my diary.
We're going to put it in your diary. Is that what they say?
That's what we
say.
In
the Brits, put it in your diary, right? Put it on your calendar, June 16th in Georgetown at the City Tavern, one of the most iconic places in D.C. And we got some very interesting speakers there. Morgan Griffith is going to be joining us, Congressman from Virginia, 9th District. Mm-hmm. Also, Brandon Beach, who's my signature speaker, Treasurer of the United States, and our featured speaker, Corey Lewandowski.
Oh, so you got some big names.
You got some big names, right? Yeah. You got to hear what Corey has to say.
He's been in the news a bit, right? So I'll be
just
interested.
a little, right?
Yeah, so it sounds a good lineup.
It's a great lineup. And of course, with you there, it's going to be a lot of fun, Rob. And we're going to let you talk about some of your things you've been covering while I was a little late getting you in because I didn't realize you couldn't get in the door. So I'm sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
It's my bad.
It's been a busy week. Have you been following Prince Charles and Queen Camilla? King Charles, I'm out of date, and Queen Camilla on their visit to Washington?
Not to the extent I should have, but that's why you're here.
I mean, it's been an extraordinary week, right? So they arrived for their state visit, marking the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. Could be slightly awkward for British visitors. There were lots of jokes about the last time we were here at the White House, we tried to burn it down, all that kind of stuff. But I was there at the garden party. They had a garden party at the British ambassador's residence on Monday afternoon. And I think it was an extraordinary demonstration of the sort of soft power that Britain can wield over here.
Define soft power. And as you're doing that, I'm actually going to make you a cup of coffee.
Well, the reason we Brits like soft power is, of course, we have very little hard power left. You're the guys with the big aircraft carriers, all the nukes. You're the ones who can go to war with Iran and get stuff done. What we can do is bring you Downton Abbey in real life. We can give you a nice afternoon of little finger sandwiches of smoked salmon and cucumber, the scones, the Victoria sponge cake. But what was remarkable about the afternoon in the British ambassador's residence garden was the way all of Washington was there. So I bumped into Senator Ted Cruz just alongside Ruben Gallego. I had a brief interview with House Speaker Mike Johnson. And I realized just standing behind him as we chatted was Nancy Pelosi. you have both sides of the aisle. Lots of big hitters from the White House. James Blair was there. Stephen Miller. I saw Stephen Miller smile. Now that is one for the photograph album. So everybody wanted to be there. Everybody was smiling, having a good time. They put aside all the partisan politics for a bipartisan afternoon, and everybody was saying after, oh, I got to shake his hands. Wasn't he nice? Wasn't it fun? So it was a really interesting afternoon to see a different type of Washington that we don't see very often. One of the things I was looking at, and I wrote about in Monday's column, was what were the toilet facilities going to be like for the state banquet? Now, this is a good one. This is a good one. So in January, Will Scharf, the president's staff secretary, was presenting the ballroom plans to the big federal commission that oversees all this stuff. And one of the, which he happens to chair as well, but anyway, that's another thing. And one of the points he made was that it was extraordinary that when the president went to the United Kingdom, he was hosted in the great surroundings of Windsor Castle. But when the king comes here, there was a risk he was going to have a state banquet in a tent with porta potties lined up outside, which is the usual arrangement. So he was saying we got to have the ballroom because otherwise the king may have to use a porta potty. So I looked into this, and a senior White House official told me there is no way, there is no universe in which the president would allow the king to use a porta potty. So you know what they did? They had the state dinner in the East Room. So I'm not saying that was just because of the lavatory arrangements, but they did dodge a bullet with that one. But the point was, it made it rather more intimate. You couldn't have the 200 guests that you might have in the tent. It was a smaller, more intimate evening.
Driven by
it's one of the factors, shall we
driven
say.
by the bathroom.
You can't let the king use a porta potty.
No,
So that was one of the things I was looking at. And then of course we had all the speeches. So Tuesday was the big Washington Day. We had lovely, thank you ever so much. There was a meeting, an Oval Office meeting between the king and the president in the morning, all closed press, because of course the last thing the king wanted was a big diplomatic row over something like the Chagos Islands or the other stuff that Britain and the US have been butting heads over. And then did you see the speech he gave to Congress? I thought it was super,
it was good.
super interesting, a very good speech. I mean, he talked about all the things that bind America and the United Kingdom together, the shared values, that long transatlantic alliance. But he did also poke the president a little bit. You know, he brought up Magna Carta, which was this extraordinary document, which is the basis for democracy in Britain, signed in the 13th century in a little meadow called Runnymede. And what it did was it said that even the king cannot be above the law, a very radical document for the 13th century in England. The president himself made reference to Runnymede in his speech. But I think the king's message was that there are limits to executive power. And I think that's a message that the president may not quite have heard, because later in the day, of course, we saw the indictment of Jim Comey and what some would see an overreach of executive power. So the king also talked about the environment. He talked about Ukraine, things that are awkward for some Republicans in Congress, awkward for the president. But the president, I just think, was wowed by the way the king came and gave that very warm, joke-filled speech in the evening at the state dinner, with that wonderful gift of the bell from HMS Trump, the World War II submarine. So I think the king did what he always does, is he wooed his audience, but there were some sharper messages there if you were listening closely. So I thought it was a really extraordinary week in Washington from that respect.
He's a very deft communicator. That's what
he's done it all his life. It's what he's bred for, right?
Yeah.
And as you know, the constitutional position of the monarch in the United Kingdom is that they have no power, and it is not a political role. But what he can do is he can shake hands, he can make a visit like this, he can make everybody around.
He can jawbone.
He can jawbone, and he can deliver a message that Sir Keir Starmer can't do without putting backs up. He did it in a very gentle way, a very diplomatic way, but the message was there if you were prepared to hear it.
Listen, I thought he met his objectives. I thought the president met his objectives. Also, Mayor Mandami wanted him to give some diamond back to India. What the hell was that about?
Well, that's a big deal. So this is I mean, I don't know if it's still the world's largest cut diamond, but it used to be called the Star of India. And of course, it's one of the colonial treasures that Britain took from that part of the world. It had ended up in Afghanistan, I think, and that's where it was brought to the United Kingdom from, and it's one of the crown jewels. It's one of the monarch's pieces of jewelry now. And Mamdani, of course, his father is an anti-colonial scholar. He will tell you things, quite extraordinary things, like Idi Amin in Uganda, a very brutal, horrendous ruler, was actually better for Uganda than the Brits were. So he comes from this anti-colonial tradition, and British, and besides the Koh-i-Noor, which is the traditional name for it, besides that, British museums are stuffed with artifacts and treasures that have come from all over the globe and weren't exactly given with the permission of the original owners. So it's an ongoing debate in Britain: is what should we do with these things? Is it enough to explain the provenance and say it was stolen, or should we be returning these treasures? So anyway, Mamdani at a press conference before the king visited New York said, "I'm going to be asking for the return of the Koh-i-Noor." And there's no evidence he actually went through with that request, as far as I can tell. And maybe there was a little bit of politicking going on, but it cuts to a debate about Britain's role in the world and whether Britain should be returning these things. Yeah.
You're on the John Fredericks Media Network. I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America. Truth and clarity right here. Rob Crilly with us. Rob, the author of Secrets, Washington Examiner. Go to washingtonexaminer.com/secrets. Rob, lots of fun things going on, but I got to get to the Supreme Court ruling yesterday, I guess 2 days ago, 6-3, eviscerating Section 2.0 of the Civil Rights Act. All these gerrymandered districts gone. They're now illegal. They're gerrymandered for minority majority. They're now illegal. They're unconstitutional. They're all going to go. Done right, Republicans pick up 20-25 seats at a minimum, probably 15 to 20 in 2026. The one caveat is they left it up to the states. The Supreme Court ruling did carve that out. They said it's up to the states to get this done. And so we've now got Louisiana special session. He put off, Governor Landry put off the primary there. Governor Tate Reeves in Mississippi put his primary off. He's got a special session. 2 seats there gone. We've got pressure on Brian Kemp in Georgia. He's got a seat that has to go. Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee, he's got a seat that's got to go. South Carolina, McMaster, Clyburn's done. If they call a special session. And then after that, yesterday, you had Harmeet Dillon of Department of Justice coming out. She's in the Civil Rights Division, saying either the states get rid of these districts or we will. They're illegal. I mean, this is generational. I don't think the Democrats understand that this is going to eviscerate them in 26 if the Republican governors get off their butt. They can't win if these go down.
I mean, is this all you care about now?
Yes.
Is it just about winning? Is it not about justice? I mean, the fact that it was a 6-3
it's all about
vote,
winning. Yes.
Is it just?
You're right.
The fact that it was a 6-3 vote at the Supreme Court, I think, speaks very badly of the Supreme Court. I mean, I can't believe.
No, they're unconstitutional. How does this speak badly? It's unconstitutional. These things are gerrymandered on race from the Civil Rights Act in 1964. This is 2026. You want to go and win a seat, win a seat. You don't win seats that are basically designed in order for somebody to win. So how is this? How is it? Yes, it's all about winning. I mean, look at what the Democrats have done. It's about putting ballots in boxes. There's no policy. Mail-in ballots in boxes and winning. That's all it is. That's all I'm interested in.
I think if America was a happy, fully functioning democracy where racism and gerrymandering weren't an issue, this ruling would be fine. Nobody wants to see positive discrimination. Nobody wants to see a finger on the scale to alter electoral districts. But the point,
I do.
But the point Okay. Well,
I don't give a rat's
well,
ass.
okay.
These guys have been gerrymandering these seats out. Look, there's not a single
Well, hang on.
Republican
No,
seat in New England.
You didn't let me
All right, go ahead.
finish my point.
I'm sorry.
My point is the reason these districts were shaped in that way because America was built on a racist system. So it was a nation of slave owners where people didn't have full civil rights. So districts were artificially shaped to try to rebalance things. Now, if everything was fixed now, if everything was fine, if the black population had salaries that were equal to the white population, if black people had the same opportunities as white people, I'd say fine, get rid of all this positive discrimination. Absolutely fine. But the fact is they're not. And I think that for the Supreme Court to vote 6-3 in the way that it did shows that this wasn't a question of justice. It was purely a question of politics. I think this reflects very badly on the United States.
Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
I'd say so.
I mean, we're not even, forget about like the same page. We're not even on the same continent. I think this was a bold and courageous ruling. And this was born out of the 60s. This is 2026. Everybody's got an equal opportunity in this nation to do whatever they want.
I disagree. I completely disagree. I'd take a walk around the streets here, right? Who make up the vast majority of the homeless population? I mean, you can see. You can't tell me there's any reason.
Well, let's see. I got two homeless guys out where I live, right outside. Both are white males. So I go to the park, McPherson Park. The majority of the homeless people there are white guys. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know where you live, but certainly here, I mean, to say, okay, there's homeless people, is that now a racial divide? I mean, come on, Rob. That's like ridiculous. Everybody's got an equal opportunity in this country to be successful.
That's not.
And you want to go back to where you have congressional districts that are basically designed for the district to pick their representative rather than the people to pick it. Any of these African American representatives like Bobby Scott in Virginia 3 can go run in whatever district he's in and go win. But they're not, right? They're not going to win because their policies don't match the people. And the Democrats have done this for 30 years. That's why you go to New England, there's not a single, these states in New England vote Republican 42 to 45%. You know how many Republicans are in New England? Zero. They've already gerrymandered it out. So the Democrats have nowhere to go. And that's why they're having a meltdown.
I think Republicans should focus on winning on the issues, not by changing boundaries.
Winning on the issues. Right. Okay. So you want to win on the issues where they have a machine to get mail-in ballots. They harvest voters. They put them in drop boxes. We know the illegalities that went on the ground, not machines, in 2020. All they do is cheat. And now you want to tell me about policy? There's no policy.
Come on, John. If we're going to start saying the 2020 election was stolen.
I didn't say that. I said there was fraud on the ground.
You said there was
They were definitely cheating. They got ballots that came in late after election. They changed the rules. It didn't go through the General Assembly. You had Pennsylvania changing rules. Everything was changed. You know, the whole thing in Georgia was like ridiculous. Everybody got a ballot mailed. There were ballots on the floor in Starbucks just floating around.
Donald Trump himself said that Republicans have got to get better at getting their vote out ahead of election day.
I agree with that.
Yeah, you can't just expect people to and to say that the Democrats are running a machine. Well, you should run a machine.
I know. You're right.
Yeah.
On that, we agree. We don't have a machine for mail-out ballots. We totally agree on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been fighting for early voting since 2020. I've been thrown out of so many organizations as a result of that. The whole machine fraud thing, servers on the moon, is all stupid. It's a hoax. It's stupid. And we have to vote on game day because of algorithms. There's no algorithms. What we've got to get better at now is mail-in ballots. If you look at Virginia, right, this referendum, virtually a tie. The no votes won on election day, game day, plus 12.
Right.
Typical. Good news is after 6 years of asking people to vote early, the early vote was virtually tied. We lost by 1.6. But here's how we got beat. Mail-in ballots, we lost 75 to 25. That's the Republican no votes. And it represented 12% of the vote.
Right.
As long as the Democrats can maintain that advantage legally, and we don't have an answer for that, you can't win.
Talking of Virginia, I mean, my understanding of that was there was a lot of anger on the ground from Republicans that the National Party wasn't more involved. And maybe that's an area where they could improve all the early voting, the mail-in ballots, all that sort of thing. But I was picking up a lot of frustration that the RNC wasn't committing enough resources in the run-up, and the early voting had started before the National Party had really woken up to it.
Well, yes. I mean, had they gotten money in earlier, I mean, we got outspent 10 to 1.
10 to 1, really?
10 to 1. Yeah, 100 million, 120 million. When it's all said and done, they spent 110 million with their dark money and everything else to our 15 million. I mean, It was like 9 to 1.
Yeah.
We got started late, but almost pulled it off.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but we're going to see what happens with the Supreme Court. But a lot of us are frustrated, and we don't not agree on the Supreme Court. I think it was a bold and accurate move. These are unconstitutional, and now the Democrats have built a party on this thing, and now they're going to have to win on the issues. Well, okay,
All right.
you got a communist that just took over the Democratic Senate seat in Maine. Now explain that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, my take on this is a broad one, which is that the Democrats have been steamrolled by President Trump. You know, his unique brand of economic populism, or whatever else you want to call it, and all the different parts to it. But I think they've been on the lookout for some, people, candidates who can match that from the left. And I think that's what we saw with Zohran Mamdani in New York. He connected with young voters by going down a populist route. Now, with different policies and politically very different from the Trump MAGA movement. But I was even picking up at the time some Mamdani Trump voters, which I thought is extraordinary. But that's the only real explanation for Maine, is that Democrats are looking to match that rhetoric coming from the MAGA world with something of their own, and that the old kind of conventional way of doing politics, it doesn't really match up in 2026.
I was just stunned that you took a two-term governor, Janet Mills, as liberal as she is, and she was 80, right? So I get that.
Yeah.
But you take a two-term governor that got elected 2 times there, that should have been the leading candidate for the Democrat nomination, who was at least 50-50 to beat Collins, at least.
Yeah.
And then she drops out of the race. It's one thing if you get beat. She dropped out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all I can say is she must have seen the writing on the wall and decided a divisive primary now is going to do more harm than good, and do it for the good of the party. I don't know, but extraordinary.
Especially because the guy they nominated, I mean, this guy is basically, I mean, he is an avowed communist. And I'm not throwing this word around like rhetoric. Guy's a communist. There's no, you look at every one of his policies, he's a Communist Party USA, and he's taken over basically the Democratic Party in Maine. And as a result of this guy now being the nominee, Collins is going to win that seat. Collins is going to win. They handed it to Collins.
Well, I mean, it's always tough to unseat an incumbent, and she obviously has some sort of secret sauce for being a Republican in that part of the world. So she's going to run a tough campaign, no doubt about it. I mean, one thing is, where does this DHS vote, this funding of ICE, is that going to play against her? Something I'm picking up is Republicans in Democratic areas are worried about the impact of that. That is mobilizing the Democratic vote. But yeah, you'd have to say she's the favorite.
I think she is now. I'm not sure she would have beaten Janet Mills.
It would have been interesting to see. It would have been tight.
You can follow Rob Crilly. We always have a spirited debate. I love having him on, but he loves my 1775 coffee. Tell me that's not great.
It is good. I'm just trying to look at the
great dad.
You're giving me a great dad Trump mug. Okay.
Always looking after for you, buddy.
Good man.
Hey, look, you want to go to WashingtonExaminer.com/secrets. Sign up there. WashingtonExaminer.com/secrets. Get Rob Curley every day. Governor Mike Braun, Indiana, vindicated. Next.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Leslie.
Excellent.
There are questions about the presidential line of succession following last weekend's White House Correspondents' Dinner attack.
92-year-old Republican Chuck Grassley of Iowa is third in line for the presidency and was the highest-ranking official not in attendance at the dinner.
I think I learned that on television at the time.
Speaking to the Salem Radio Network in his Capitol Hill office, Grassley said a thorough Secret Service review is underway, but some possible policy changes are already being discussed.
They're thinking now in the White House that it was even wrong to have the president and vice president at the same event, and I think that would be wise.
Grassley commended the Secret Service for its swift response and bravery. Greg Clugston, Capitol Hill.
Breaking a Democrat logjam, Republicans have ended the 76-day Department of Homeland Security shutdown. The Founding Freedoms Law Center has filed a legal challenge to the ballot question for a proposed Virginia constitutional amendment. That amendment enshrines a sweeping right to reproductive freedom, including abortion throughout pregnancy. By law, the question should be neutral and accurate. But Center Chief Counsel Josh Hertzler says it's deceptive and fails to inform voters that the amendment would nullify current state laws.
The amendment will eliminate parental consent and notification before a minor obtains an abortion. It will eliminate parental notification and consent before a minor undergoes a sexual sterilization procedure, which often occurs in transgender-related surgeries. It will allow any person at all, whether licensed or not, to perform an abortion.
The lawsuit asks the court to declare that the language as written is unconstitutional and to permanently block its enforcement. The Dow futures up 122 points. NASDAQ futures down 36. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Here's something most people don't know. When Warren Buffett was just 13 years old, he didn't put his money into a savings account. While other kids were earning next to nothing at local banks, Buffett put $114 into a little-known investment. Today, that $114 would be worth over $15 million. And it wasn't a risky trade, it wasn't insider knowledge. It was an account that's been around since 1888, and over the last 25 years, it's averaged 29% a year. That's what happens when your money is allowed to compound. Compare that to today's savings account, paying less than 0.5%, while inflation quietly eats away at your buying power. Buffett understood early, banks are great businesses, just not for savers. If you'd like to see what some investors call the 29% account, go now to ask29account.com. That's ask29account.com. Ask29account.com.
Britain's government vows to fight anti-Semitism following a knife attack in London.
45-year-old man was charged on Friday with attempted murder and the stabbings of 2 Jewish men in London, the latest in a string of attacks that have sparked fear and anger in Britain's Jewish community. Police said Essa Suleiman faces 2 counts of the charge related to the attack in Golders Green in North London. He also faces a 3rd count of attempted murder over an incident elsewhere in London earlier the same day that left a man with minor injuries. Of the 2 attacks Suleiman carried out, police have labelled the Golders Green attack as an act of terrorism. Karen Shamas, London.
Syria was once a battleground enduring 14 years of civil war, but now the country offers relative peace in a region that's racked by turmoil. Syrian leaders aim to leverage their neutrality to rebuild relationships with Arab and Western countries that shunned Syria under former President Assad. Townhall.com. Folks in San Francisco, visitors and residents alike are flocking to Pier 39, there to catch a glimpse of this big boy.
A massive sea lion named Chonkers is charming everyone at Pier 39. Visitors snap photos of the sea lion as he flops around on the pier among much smaller sea lions. Chonkers is estimated to weigh about 2,000 pounds, and he sits, well, wherever he wants to. A spokesman for the Marine Mammal Center says the pier does offer protection from predators and plenty of food, or in Chonkers' case, a whole bunch of food. Jason Walker reporting.
Peace, higher wages, better working conditions, the demands of activists who are again taking to the streets on this May Day. It's public holiday in many European countries. In the U.S., foes of President Trump not passing up the chance to voice their discontent. More on these stories at townhall.com.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cell's Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Hey folks, Al Green here for Sat Phone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need Sat Phone. Sat phones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your Sat Phone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Trump 2.0 is in full effect. How do you keep up with all the action? I'll tell you. TrumpNationNews.com is your inside source for the inside scoop. Manufacturing, jobs, deportations, and the nation's rejuvenation. The first 100 days and beyond. All the news you need and no liberal gibberish. It's the perfect way to start your day. Sign up for the TNN newsletter. Do it today. TrumpNationNews.com. TrumpNationNews.com. Part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Hey parents, plan an unforgettable summer. Send your kids to Rapidan Baptist Camp in Rochelle, Virginia. 1 week of nonstop fun and life-changing truth. Amazing preachers, friendly counselors, exciting activities. Ride an alpine coaster and zip line, a 250-foot water slide, and that's just the beginning. Junior camps for ages 7 to 12, teen camps for 13 to 18, 2-day Pee-wee camp with mom and dad for ages 4 to 8, and a brand new day camp option. Sign up today at camprapidan.com. That's camprapidan.com. Rapidan Baptist Camp, where faith and fun collide.
Right now, download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play and get the entire Mountaineer sports world in the palm of your hand. Right now, get notified when new stories drop about your favorite Mountaineers teams and athletes. Download the WV Sports Nation app right now. Get updates on next level Mountaineers like Weatherholt and Joe Mazzulla. All that and more right in your pocket right now. Download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play. Download the app right now.
He's your Godzilla of the truth in America.
Run! It's Godzilla!
No gibberish or nonsense, just common sense. And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
Welcome back here on the John Fredericks Media Network. I am your Godzilla of the truth in America. It's Friday, TGIF. This is Vindication Day for Governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, a doer, a strategic mastermind that has made Indiana into one of the greatest states in America. Now, I live in Washington, D.C., so I live in the greatest, most beautiful, safest city in America. But if I had to move out of here, I'd probably want to go to Indiana because it's that good under Mike Braun's leadership. And the governor is with us. I am your Godzilla of the truth in America. Joining us now on Governor Mike Braun Vindication Day is Governor Mike Braun of Indiana, former senator, now governor, doing great things. Governor, I was so excited about getting you on today. I went there for a week. You came on our bus. You were there live. You did 2 segments trying to get the redistricting done, and here you are today. The Supreme Court 2 days ago jettisoned out, gutted Section 2.0 of the Civil Rights Act. All these gerrymandered, racially divisive districts, minority majority, ruled unconstitutional. You were a visionary in trying to get this done the right way back in December. You did all the right things. You couldn't get it done. I just want to say you're vindicated.
Thank you, because that was due to a stubborn state Senate that after 2 trips in from the vice president, a couple conversations with our president, they dug in on it. And of course, that complication politically for them is being litigated. Our primary is next Tuesday, so we'll see what happens. But when you look at what they have done, and let's take New England as an example, we may have talked about it then, even if it wasn't based on the racial gerrymandering, New England and the other states there, compared to, say, the 7 states that are the reddest for us, which have maybe 1 or 2 congressional districts, those have been gerrymandered for decades. So they were way ahead of us. They've had that advantage. Also, when you look at how congressional districts are put together, 750,000 people basically per district. Look at the illegal immigrants that have come in, mostly housed in places like California, Illinois, New York. There's been an unfair advantage. And when the Democrats cry foul, they were so good at it and have done it for so long, and you can still see they've got room to do it. So to me, fair maps, fair elections, balance it out. And yes, this is a vindication. The Supreme Court, when they came in here, there'll be lots of congressional districts in the South that have that salamander look to them that was done basically on that that foundation. In Indiana, we didn't have any of them, but certain other states, mostly in the South, will have 1 or 2 of them, possibly, depending on how big the state is. We'll see what happens.
How many seats here are we talking about? I know you've done some thumbnail math on the back of a napkin. I've got it at about a pickup of about 20 seats if the various governors in these red states, like Ron DeSantis has, governor of Florida, Tate Reeves, governor of Mississippi, if they call these special sessions now, you could get up to 20 seats. Is that the way you're?
So I haven't looked into it because I only saw the one configuration in Louisiana, but that is where most of them will be. Those are mostly Republican legislatures with Republican governors. They all have a different kind of trigger mechanism in terms of generally the governor would do the special session, and then hopefully, like most other states did when we were doing it, not based upon the Supreme Court decision, just the fact that you needed to true it up based upon what the other blue states have done over time. Yeah, this could be that many, and it'll be in those southern states, which I think every one of them fits into that category. So not sure about Georgia, since it's now a swing state, but most of the rest would have it. And you, I guess, saw the one which most of us saw in Louisiana. I mean, it went from in a diagonal way almost across the state.
Well, that's gone. I think, I don't know what Governor Kemp is going to do, but he's got a couple of those down there that would flip immediately.
I think he's likely to call a special session there because now these maps with these gerrymandered minority majority districts are unconstitutional. What the Supreme Court did is they carved out the federal mandate, which I get, and they left it up to the states. So each individual state has to do what they want.
And the other logistical issue would be, when is your primary?
Right.
Remember, ours was going to be next week, so it was May. So we started it early. So you're running out of maybe some runway to actually do it, because a lot of these primaries are going to be in the next few months. And if they've already had it, it would be a moot point.
And so that would be this case, right, with Indiana. If you call this another special session on Monday, it wouldn't matter, right? Because your primary.
It wouldn't matter. Plus, we don't have a district that was configured on a racial basis either. So,
all right. So you really don't have any of that. But you. I mean, I just want to say this again. You were the visionary in doing this in December, because you saw this coming. And you were way ahead of the game. And when I looked at those maps, when I went up there and I looked at your maps, I mean, they were completely contiguous. I mean, they all made sense.
Yes.
And of course, your conference, as you said, got stubborn and dug in.
No, ours would have been pretty well. It wasn't going to be sprawling, because in our state, it's 60-40. And when you look at a map like what Massachusetts is doing, they would be building those, since they have no Republican districts there, and they're 60-40 blue. They would be drawing from Boston and the other big cities to reach out into the countryside. That's the whole, that's the way they do it, the gerrymander. Illinois, look at theirs. They got 3 sprawling districts that go deep south into the rural part of Illinois. So they've done it. They've done it better than we've ever begun to do it. And to me, it made sense because it was evening the playing field.
Well, the other thing with this, Governor, is the Democrats have nowhere to go here. They've already gerrymandered all these seats out. So they're not going to call a special session, obviously, because they control it. But you're going to get now lawsuits from Republicans saying, hey, you have a minority majority district, it's unconstitutional, you got to change that. And those are going to make it up to SCOTUS, who's going to then say, yeah, they need to get changed. And as far as the Republican states, there's nobody for the Democrats to sue. Who are they going to sue? The Supreme Court already made the decision.
And so you can probably bet on it that if the logistics don't make sense for the midterms, that'll be looked at heading into the 28 election for sure, because there'd be plenty of time. It would still be mid-decade redistricting, but with the foundation of the Supreme Court saying it's unconstitutional the way you currently have it. That should be a no-brainer.
Landmark decision. Also, we got a new census coming out, Governor, in 2030. What is your vision for that? Because I know a lot of new people have moved into Indiana because you have the lowest taxes. You have a great quality of life. Your crime is down. It's a wonderful state to be in. The week that I spent there was fantastic. Also happened to be the week that Indiana won the championship, or won the conference title against Ohio State.
And the national championship.
Yeah. It was a great time to tell you what. It was cold, but it was a great time to be there.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
So we are in the northern half of the country, and I noticed it and was surprised. It was 6-7 months ago. States with the most net migration into them, and we were number 7. And this was on absolute numbers. It could have been number 1 per capita, but Indiana had that notoriety in the northern half of the country. I knew Texas, Florida, Tennessee, a few others. I don't know that there was a blue state on there, but yeah, people are going to vote with their feet if they got the year after year put up with what they're dishing up in California, Illinois, and New York. And of course, we were the beneficiary of the most sane place to move to that's in your neighborhood. Living in Illinois is coming into Indiana. Same thing the Bears are looking at.
All right, we're with Governor Mike Braun. He brought up the Bears, so we're going to go there. He's governor of Indiana. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, TGIF, trucking the truth across America. I am your Godzilla of the truth. Truth and clarity is what you're going to get here from Governor Mike Braun. Okay, you brought up the Bears, Chicago Bears. Looks like Indiana for them, for the family that owns them. Greener pastures, certainly a better experience for the fans. I know you're in negotiation, might be a little sensitive, but how's it look?
Well, I can tell you about 6 months ago, after 2.5 years of trying to even have a discussion with the state legislature, Governor Pritzker, and the Chicago area, it was all crickets. So they came to us, and when they saw how easy it was to have a conversation with the governor, myself, my team, I mean, it was flabbergasting to them. So we moved quickly. And from those early negotiations, we were able to craft a bill, get it across the finish line before our session was over, and did it to where I wanted to make sure we weren't just a bargaining chip. I wanted a strong public statement from them that they were interested in all the due diligence and going forward. We got that and the bill passed on basically the same day. And we've been checking off all the stuff that needs to be done, because the league is wanting an answer, and they, I think, are going to make their final decision. The Illinois legislature is in session till the end of May, but they passed kind of an anemic bill that would be aimed at any large business to try to make it easier for them to come there. It didn't do hardly anything that would specifically help what the Bears are looking for. So in my opinion too, where would you want to spend the next 50 years in an enterprise that's going to have to put up with regulations, taxes, unforeseen, low tax, low regulation, enterprising state like Indiana, AAA bond rating, or just about all the opposite of what I just said in Illinois?
Governor, where, if they were to go there, what we're negotiating, where exactly, what area, what town would the Bears play in, and what would your vision of the facility look like?
So we've made that easy too. The city of Hammond, right up in the region, actually would be easier and logistically better to get to from where they're currently at Soldiers Field, rather than going up to the other location in Arlington Heights. And so that is going to be, for especially the South Siders, simpler. I think you'll get a lot more stadium for the bucks you're going to be spending. It's 300 and some acres plus. So it's just right across the Illinois border with easy logistics to get to.
So how far is it from like downtown Chicago to Hammond?
Probably 15 miles or so.
Oh my God, that's easy. And I would assume you guys would build a transportation infrastructure, like a community.
We've got all that already mostly done. And then there's a mayor, Mayor McDermott in Hammond, that's made it all easy. Imagine if you're dealing with a suburb in Chicagoland or Chicago itself, how long it'd take to get the zoning, to get everything done. And that's already been done on a fast-footed basis by the mayor of Hammond.
And then your hotel situation in Hammond.
So that'll be development that comes along in addition to what we've already got there. And that whole area, the region, that was built on the back of the steel industry when Gary was our second largest city. Now that's Fort Wayne. It's in kind of a Renaissance position as well. I've spent a lot of time up there, and this area, Hammond, East Chicago, Whiting, Gary, there'll be so much upside potential on development. The Bears know that. It's a beautiful piece of land. So it'll be the beginning of what will cascade forward in terms of a lot of development that'll come around at hotels, restaurants, the whole gamut.
What's the time frame?
I think they're going to make their decision in the next month and a half or two.
So if they move there, what do you do, right? Colts, you're a Colts fan, obviously. Indianapolis Colts, they play in my division. I'm a Titans fan. Thanks for making us the doormat of the league. But does your loyalty stay with the Colts, or do you root for the Bears, or do you wear two fan hats? What do you do?
Hey, we're a state that likes competition. We're considered the sports capital of the country because NCAA is headquartered in Indianapolis, and Indy 500. We've got venues here in Indy that will be Super Bowl worthy, playoff worthy, and the same thing can happen up there in Chicago because we are a kind of state that's enterprising. It's going to make it happen, not do all the things that either avoid you from staying put or getting it done. So, and the Colts are happy. There's going to be another franchise in the state. That's already been cleared.
So when you talk to the Irsay family, the daughter, I guess, is now in charge.
Carly.
What's her name?
And there are two other daughters involved too.
Right, but the head daughter is kind of the operating operating manager. I think she's called. The managing director.
Right.
They weren't concerned about competition, loss of sales, loss of merchandise. What was their reaction?
No, they thought there'd be synergy from it, and of course the league has looked at it, and it's happened in so many other places. I mean, look at a place like New York. I'll bet both of those franchises are happy they're not going to be taxed to death by the new mayor because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
And I guess going from New York to New Jersey, that's not going to be as stark a difference by far as going from Illinois to Indiana. It'll be like you're entering the promised land from an enterprising or commercial point of view. So people sooner or later will leave if you want to drain them.
So back to the census, you guys were number 7. So you're likely to pick up another congressional seat, right, during the new census?
Well, a congressional seat, you'd have to gain population to the tune of 750,000. I don't think we'll do that, but we're in the right direction. And from the north of the Mason-Dixon line, northern states, you can't sell the weather, even though I'm a 4 seasons person. Once you get here, I think you'd like that. It's a beautiful state. It's mostly going to be because of the fact that it's an enterprising state for people to want to move back to, build a business, build a family. And the places that are going to really suffer from the census are the ones that have the most population. And that's going to be California and New York, number 1. And remember, Californians are moving to places like Texas. Right. New Yorkers are going almost directly down to Florida. So it'll be a zero-sum game in the right direction because they're going to go to red states, not blue states.
Governor, along with like Governor Morrissey in West Virginia, are you looking at a way to eliminate your state income tax?
So depends on what else you've got we're going to be a well-run state that needs less of the taxpayers' money, especially since we've gotten in here running it from a business point of view. Depending on what they've got there, it's either sales tax, income tax, flow through, and corporate. And then property taxes generally mostly the source of income for your local governments and school districts. So in our case, if you got rid of the individual income tax, it's the biggest proportion of our state revenues. So you'd have to find it elsewhere and run government more efficiently. Places like Florida, they get a big tourism boost.
Right.
Tennessee doesn't have an income tax. They've got a big tourism industry. The more we would build it, the more you can get other forms of income outside of the staples of income and sales tax. And again, property taxes are a big issue. As soon as I came in, we reformed it and saved nearly $1.5 billion over the next 3 years for property taxpayers. So we're going to look at all of them. It comes down, though, are you running your governments efficiently? Florida, for instance, when my friend Rick Scott got there in 2010, it was a blue state in the red financially. It took him 1 year to get it back in the black. And when he handed it off to DeSantis in 18, when he and I went to the U.S. Senate, that was a blessing for Ron because it had already been fixed. And Florida now has more people than New York and runs its state government for about half the cost.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's what efficiency is. No question about it. All right, final thing, because I know you're short on time. You got to get back to work, and I appreciate, as always, you coming on with us on such short notice. So, Governor, we talked about football. We talked about the Bears, Colts. I can't figure out for the life of me why Indianapolis doesn't have an NHL hockey team. We're right in the middle of the playoffs, one of the most exciting playoffs ever. Every game is double overtime or overtime. Everything is close except for a couple sweeps. When are you guys going to get an NHL team? It's so cold there. You play hockey. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, we had a cold enough January where you could have done it outside this year.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So MLS, Major League Soccer, and hockey will inevitably come to a place like Indianapolis. It's already kind of considered the sports capital of the country for the reasons we've talked about. It's got franchises, not major league, but sooner or later we will get them. A lot of that depends on, are they adding new franchises? Can you pick them up in a place where they're not working as well? So that'd be a goal of mine. I'm interested in it. And sooner or later, I think that'll happen.
Well, anyway, I think you guys are on the right track. Always good to have you on. Great to be, my son pitches for Maryland. Right now he's hurt. He's out this season. He took a red shirt. But Big Ten, right? We're both in a Big Ten. I love I've become such a Big Ten fan since she's been there. And the education is fantastic. They do things in the Big Ten a little bit differently. Like you actually have to go to class.
Novel concept.
Novel concept. You have to go to class and you have to maintain an average or they kick you off the team. I mean, that's like the Big Ten way. Not like some conferences in the South. That after the game that you guys won when you beat Miami, like this was the most shocking statement to me. I think he's in the draft or he got drafted. Was it Carson Beck from Georgia, that quarterback from Miami?
Yeah.
They asked him about, you transferred in. What did you think of Miami? He said, well, I've been here for 2 years. I never went to a class.
Oh, my goodness.
Says it on national TV, right?
Wow.
You go to Indiana.
That made the educational folks cringe when they heard that. But that's a sad statement.
He never went to a class. I mean, you go play football for your guy Signetti in Indiana. You got to go and pass like real classes with real.
That was always that was a Bobby Knight rule, if you remember.
Oh,
he
yeah.
wasn't putting up with that stuff.
No. Bobby,
and if that does happen, John, 95% of the kids that end up, getting a scholarship, they're going to have to find a real job outside of playing in the next level. So that is truly, hurting most of the kids that come into the program, and hopefully they'll do better because you can only go one direction from that.
That's correct. Governor, we're out of time. I want to thank you for being with us. Governor Mike Braun, Indiana, vindicated for his redistricting effort back in December. He was ahead of the curve, a true visionary. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, John. My pleasure.
All right. We're going to be right back. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Your
Trucking the truth.
All you have to do is go to twc.health/Godzilla today and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10%. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Hey folks, Al Green.
Right now, download the new...
On the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need sat phone. Sat phones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your sat phone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Mike, at any point in your coaching career, did you ever have an interest or express an interest in being a head coach in the college game? And do you have any idea how that may or may not have led to folks like Ryan and Doug Whaley and Carson Palmer connecting you to some college jobs?
Hey, guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That'll be the last time that I address it. And not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
Anyone else? All right.
Thank you. Anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, anybody asking Andy Reid about stuff like that?
He's the voice of Virginia.
No, you can't. You have one of the worst voices I've ever heard in my life.
And the commander of common sense.
Fire at will, Commander.
Now back to the John Fredericks Show.
Well, there's nothing like being the commander of common sense. I really enjoyed that segment with Indiana Governor Mike Braun. Great guy, former U.S. Senator. He really gets it. And I love what they're doing with the Bears. They're getting him in Indiana. I mean, this is what leadership is. When you get people that know how to lead and have the balls to get something done, I mean, when you got balls in a plan and you got some kind of a strategy going, you're going to be successful. Truth and clarity right here. I am your Godzilla of the truth. And we certainly got a plan. Dan says, does Fredericks look like he has a plan? No, not really. But Mike Braun does. I mean, getting the Bears to Indiana is hilarious. The whole thing to me, but he was so vindicated because all the abuse he got by his own conference over the anti-gerrymandering thing and him trying to fix the seats. And the conference wouldn't even back him. He couldn't even get a majority out of his own Senate conference, a bunch of weasels in Indiana. And now he's been completely exonerated for what he was doing. He was ahead of his game. It's called vision. It's like what we have here, vision. Fortune favors the bold. You sit around in your butt, you get nothing. It's like DeSantis, Tate Reeves, Landry. Look, this is the Supreme Court ruling, and I know I got into it with Rob Curley there. They don't, whatever. It was a good debate. Enjoyed his perspective, as warped as it was. Like this is the meltdown. It's coming. I'm telling you. The meltdown is upon us. I mean, you're just seeing it. Do I have the Dan? I'm not sure if I included this. Look and see if I have the Hakeem Jeffries meltdown clip. It was, if I might not have it, it might still be in the file format we use. I saw it, and I'm not sure if I added it, but we got to run out. It's a total meltdown. Just like Rob here, who's a friend of mine, liberal, nice guy, very smart, but a meltdown because they realize This is the biggest decision that's come down out of the Supreme Court. Nothing else they ruled on matters, as far as I'm concerned. The whole thing was worth it for what they did. And if the Governor's Act, we're going to get a permanent majority for the next 50 years, especially after the census. They're done. And it's just an amazing ruling because it was not, like he said, I was embarrassed for the Supreme Court. I was proud of the Supreme Court for following the law and the Constitution. I mean, these districts were drawn to not for the voters to pick their representative. They were drawn for the representative to pick their voters. And this is what's got to change. And it was illegal and unconstitutional, and they struck it down. And then my new heroine, is that how you say it? Harmeet Dillon gets right on X and says, hey, you governors don't want to do this? I will. The federal government will. This is now the law of the land. There is nobody to sue. There is nobody to go to. There is nobody to gerrymander this thing. There's nothing. It is the law. I'm waiting for the first lawsuit by a Republican to come in a state like Massachusetts, which one of their gerrymandering districts goes all the way up to all the way up into Western Mass, which votes Republican. That's gone. They got to gain a seat. That can't stand. They will have to strike that down. Then they'll have to draw a new map that can't be racially divisive. And that's going to favor a Republican, or at least make it where you can win the seat, where policies and candidates matter, not what you draw somebody into. I mean, this is why the meltdown, you saw the meltdown that Rob had, is a meltdown because they know they're screwed. I mean, I'm having too much fun, right? Do we have McCabe on? No McCabe. All right. Yes, see if you can find it yourself. We're going to open the segment up to phone calls. You guys should weigh in on this. 888-480-JOHN. And what you think of the debate between me and Rob? I thought that was fun. I'm always open for that. I mean, I'm excited about that kind of stuff. I love spirited debates with intelligent people, and Rob's very, very smart, smarter than I am. But libtard. They have no argument. I mean, it's like, oh, I'm embarrassed for this. They're embarrassed that they finally did their job, right? All debts paid. Slate wiped clean. And just like Susan Collins, I want you guys to stop banging on her, okay? She's better than she's running against the communists. Okay, let's run this guy's clips. I know we have those. I'm having way too much fun this week. This is supposed to be like a hard job. It's not. And if I get one phone call, it's even easier. 888-480. Where's my calls today? Don't you like Danny? It's not very nice. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. Virginia Gag coming up. I hope Saxman's on, so I want to see what Saxman has to say. Saxman will be going like, Saxman's will be saying, well, it's early. We have to wait and see what happens and see what the Republicans. We'll see what happens. We'll see. No, we're not going to see what happens. No, I'm done with seeing what happens. I want action. Action, action, action. This is Christmas in MAGA in May. If these Republican governors act, do something. Like Jeff Landry, yay. Tate Reeves, yay. I want Alabama. Look, that's everything. Oh, there's a primary coming up. People have already voted. Well, they've already voted in Louisiana. He just canceled it. He says, sorry, no election for you. We're going to change the maps and then have one on a later date. Hold your fire. I'm the governor. I'm going to act with courage and clarity, truth and clarity. Sarah, Arkansas, hello. You out there, Sarah? Let's go. Let's see. Before we get to Paul, let's get to this guy, Graham Plattner. This guy's a communist. He's now the unofficial, de facto nominee for Senate in Maine. Collins was in trouble. If it was Janet Mills, as liberal as she is, Collins was in trouble. It was like 50-50. Put this guy Plantner, and he just gave her a gift. Colin's going to win this race, and LePage is going to win that seat. Bus tour Maine. It's got my name on it. Let's go. We got to get that planned. We got a lot to do here on the John Fredericks Show. Action, action, action. Here's Graham Plantner. Let's get to cut 2. No, actually, let's get to 3. Here's their Senate candidate in Maine, the communist, saying that we need to use the power to get the White House shut down and impeach everybody. This is who your candidate is for Senate against Susan Collins. I mean, if this is Democrats, let's snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Go ahead, roll it.
We're trying to figure you out there.
Well, first and foremost, I think we need to understand that the Democratic Party needs to form a theory of power. I don't think it's had one for a long time. It's had a theory of management. The Republican Party has, which is one of the reasons why we find ourselves in these straits. With a theory of power, you have to define the end state. What is the goal? What do you want to use your power in the service of? And then, how are you going to craft the policies to get there? And more importantly, build the political will and the political power to make those policies a reality. Something we're going to have to do if we're the majority. We need to use the power we get to shut this White House down. We do that, I think one of the best ways is through committee hearings and investigations. I want the Trump administration not to function because everyone in the White House is being hauled under subpoena in front of a Senate committee day after day after day. Not just because, one, we have so many crimes to investigate. At this point, we can probably be doing this for the next 30 years. But two, because it's a lever of power. Using subpoena power, bringing people in for investigations, that keeps them busy. And that doesn't allow them to go start another stupid war. That doesn't allow them to continue to give billionaires more and more and more of our economy. And so I think it's very important that if we're in the majority, we're going to wield the power that we have to rein this thing in. I also think, and I'll just be upfront, I don't believe a single U.S. Democratic senator should vote for a nominee out of the Trump administration moving forward. I think we need to use all of the power we have around funding and the power of the purse to stop paying for these kinds of stupid wars, stop paying for agencies like ICE, stop paying for the things that the Trump administration is doing that are materially hurting our democracy and hurting working people. But we need to get people into office who have a theory of power and who understand that the purpose of power isn't just to have it, it's to use it. It's to wield it and in the service of a long-term goal. And I mean, honestly, that's not what we've been seeing for quite some time.
Graham.
There you have it. If he had a hammer and a sickle behind him, he'd be complete. Comes in, does an interview, has a polo shirt. This is who the Democrats are putting up in Maine. Didn't give you a solution. Didn't tell you how your life would be better. Didn't tell you how things would be more affordable. Didn't tell you how young people can buy a house. Didn't tell you how you can get a job. Didn't tell you how we can get manufacturing back to Maine. Told you about subpoenas, shutting the government down, doing nothing, not confirming any nominees, impeaching the president, and dragging every cabinet member in for an investigation. How does that help a single resident of Maine? What does it do for them? Answer, nothing. This is the new Democrat Party. This is what they're about. Like he said, it's about power. I've been telling you this for 15 years. We're about policy. We're about program. We're about moving the ball forward. We're about how do you help people? What's better? They're about power. That's it. So there's no policies. He didn't give you a single policy here. This is their nominee for U.S. Senate in Maine. This isn't the nominee in Montana or in Alabama, where they can't win the seat, so they put up a communist for S and giggles. This is a seat they should be able to win based on the voting trend there and a vulnerable incumbent where, MAGA's got to get out and vote for her and they don't really want to. I would in a heartbeat. I'll like her. Not perfect. This is the face now of the Democrat Party. Ilhan Omar, AOC, this guy Plant, whatever he is. The guy's a sicko. This is the face of the Democrat Party. This is why it's over, folks. It's going to be two Americas, red and blue. And we're going to control the House of Representatives for the next 50 years. So it really doesn't matter what they do. It's over. All we got to do is get it done. The pathway has been cleared. You just got to walk through. They open the gate. Just get up and walk through it. Phone lines. 1, Paul, Michigan, live, go.
Hey, John. Hey, yeah, I like your enthusiasm. Action, right? But this is a great opportunity for us, and we need to march forward as you've been championing. So this is awesome. Just in regards to Rob, I can't believe you did a great job responding to him, but what a backwards view of history. And actually a great insult is, like you said, he's got some intelligence, but to actually refer to America as a country built on slavery is a very leftist, misleading view of history, because as we all know, that's not true. Slavery was a part of the world, the entire world. And it were the Europeans and the Africans that brought slavery to this country in the first place. And it wasn't manifest throughout the entire country. So we all kind of know that. And then to, point to homeless people based on their skin color and call that racism. Somebody's in an unfortunate situation, and that's systemic racism. I mean, these are serious smears and misconceptions about reality. But I thought you addressed it very well, as you usually do, especially because it sounded like it threw you off base. But it was a great discussion. But I'm very happy at this ruling, and we need to take advantage of this. And it's been very unfair to people, to us, to Americans for a long time now. So this is an opportunity to represent the people fairly based on ideas, policies, and merits versus race. So, good. And also, don't forget to tell everybody to go to Make DC Great. I just swiped the old credit card.
Oh, thank you.
And yes, sir, for the second time.
Very nice of you. Go to Make DC Great. Yeah. Put this graphic up because I got a big event coming up. It's not up there yet, but I got a big event coming up on June 16th. I hope to see everybody here. We're going to be selling tickets to that. It's going to be fun. We're trying to change things. They threw me out of the party. They threw me off the executive committee. It's like, if you do something, you challenge the system. And it's unbelievable what they've done to me. And all I do is work my ass off and try to build the party and have events and things like that. Yeah. And ask a question about a budget. They threw me off the executive committee, stripped me of my Ward 2 chairmanship. I've done nothing, but I asked a question on a Zoom call. That's all I did. And they threw me out because you can't do that. And this is the problem with some of these we get 7% of the vote in DC. I just said, what's the plan? There's no plan. 7% is not a plan. It's not a plan. Right? Threw me out. So how do I get back in? I get a big vote on June 16th. I win. They put somebody up against me, right in Canada or something. Then I heard they were trying to tank my petitions. I heard that the other day. Trying to keep me off the ballot. All I want to do is help. All I want to do is build something where there's nothing. But you see, you can't do that here because their power base is based on going to meetings, having cocktail parties, going to the RNC, having a badge on. That's all they care about. And so, the guy throws me out. Unbelievable. So thank you for donating. Anybody out there, if you're tired of this crap and you want a fighter, elect me, because I will fight, as you see I do every day. I'm not interested in cocktail parties at the Capitol Hill Club. I'm interested in fighting for my constituents. And I'm going to continue to do that with your help. So just go to MakeDCGreat.com, MakeDCGreat.com. There's a QR code there. You can also
give me a donation, because without donations, we have a big event coming up on June 16th. I'm going to need your help with. I've already got 3 great speakers. Morgan Griffith is coming, Branda Beach, U.S. Treasurer, and special guest speaker Corey Lewandowski. Now tell me that's not going to be fun. And it's going to be at the iconic City Tavern, and that is in Georgetown. So we're going to have a big event there on election night. So help us out there. Got to fight, got to fight, got to fight. Action, action, action. Can't be sitting on your butt. And thank you. Let's get to, thank you, Paul, for the donation. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Let's get to Steve Areno in Virginia. Steve, you're live. Line 2.
Good morning, Chairman Godzilla.
What's up?
Happy Friday. So, unfortunately, I was unable to hear your exchange, your debate with Rob Crilly. And I was looking forward to being able to possibly talk to you both this morning. But going back to last Friday when we spoke, I think it was pretty obvious that there's an issue where he's an intelligent man, he's talented, which is why I don't make an issue of the fact that, well, here he is, a Brit coming and taking an American job, because to me, writing is an art, and artists aren't necessarily, should be excluded with HB1B and all of that other crap that goes on. But, the fact that he was saying last Friday, oh, we're not really in decline, there's not a lot of stuff going on in England. It's like, what about Tommy Robinson? What about, the ambulances that were blown up, a couple weeks ago, and now we've had, two Jewish people that were stabbed. And it's Muslim on everybody crime in Britain.
Steve,
and that's why it's falling apart.
You can't rationalize with the libtard. You just can't do it. And I love Rob to death. He's a very intelligent guy. He's a great friend. And I have friends that we don't agree with, and we certainly didn't agree on this. And I think, when your argument collapses, what they do is they get, only thing they go back to is racism. Oh, your country was built on slavery. Well, no, it wasn't. It was there. It was horrible. We got rid of it. You guys had it too. You guys imported it. So you know what? And, you guys wanted to make us subjects, so screw you. But look, I get it. It's all good. We're all friends. And but that's what they got to go back to, right? They got to go back to race. When you have no argument to give, the libtard falls back on race because that's all they got. Or this guy that you saw in Maine talking about wielding power and shutting the government operation down and dragging everybody in, and he's not going to do anything for the people other than they have power. And he said it. When you're a communist, all you want is power. And the guy said it. I'm now the nominee. The governor dropped out. I'm the new face of the Democratic Party in Maine. I come in a polo shirt with a hammer and a sickle, and I'm a communist. And it's either me or Susan Collins, who's a reasonable representative who does vote our side whenever we need her. And stop, putting stuff on chaps nasty about it with caps. We got a Big Ten here. Be happy. Embrace the win. It's like, what was it? We played the clip from, who was that? Not Les Miles, Brian Kelly. That's why we play it from Louisiana State. We just won the game 20-10. Stop bitching. We got a W. We're 17-1 at night. Like, what is your problem? Stop complaining. This is not a weekend to complain. Focus all your attention on action, action, action. Then let's get these seats done. Let's get this gerrymandering done. Let's get these special sessions done. And then when all that's done and we have the majority, then we can bitch again. There's plenty of time to bitch later. There's plenty of bitching time. But right now, we don't have time to bitch. We have time for action. Action, action, action. Say generational opportunity. Embrace everybody. Open the tent. Governor Kemp, yay. Governor Huckabee, yay. Governor McMaster, yay. Governor, the guy in Tennessee, right? Yay. Bill something. It's
Get this done. Embrace them all until we win. And then after we win, then we can bitch. Like Ann always says to me, we're trying to get something done and we're having an argument or something. She says, look, let's get this done. Let's do it with excellence. And when it's done and we execute it, then we can fight. I'll give you an appointment to fight with me. I'll put it on my
WJF.
Virginia gang next.
107.7 Bon Air, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB Portsmouth.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Averaging $4.39 a gallon for regular, gas prices have risen 9 cents since yesterday, according to AAA. That is the national average. In California, the average is $6.06 per gallon. President Trump says, yes, gas prices are high at the moment.
And you know what? And we're not going to have a nuclear weapon in the hands of Iran. The gas will go down. As soon as the war's over, it'll drop like a rock. There's so much of it. It's all over the place.
The president says despite Iran's outward defiance, its leadership, such as it is anxious to make a deal. But Mr. Trump is not budging on his insistence that the Islamic Republic must never have a nuclear weapon. There's a manhunt underway in Kentucky.
2 employees are dead in a bank robbery in Kentucky. State police say a man walked into a U.S. bank branch in Berea in Madison County on Thursday and shot a male and a female employee. Law enforcement officials have been going door to door in search of information and surveillance video, and they've been searching the area with helicopters, drones, and police dogs. They say when the man walked into the bank, he was wearing a gray-white hoodie, gloves, and a mask. They've posted a photo of the suspect on social media. Police don't know if the man fled the scene in a vehicle or on foot. I'm Donna Warder.
A Tacoma, Washington high schooler has been booked on 5 counts of first-degree assault after 4 students and an adult security guard were injured, stabbing at Foss High School in Tacoma. As police responded to a domestic dispute call in the New York City borough of Queens, the house they were at exploded. Officers were tossed into the air. A man inside the house was killed. His body was found in the rubble. 8 cops were injured. Watching Wall Street ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures are up 145 points. NASDAQ futures 13 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
Once roiled by civil war, Syria is staking a claim as a place of safety and security.
Syria was once a battleground enduring 14 years of civil war, but now the country offers relative peace as the Middle East endures major unrest. Syrian leaders are making the most of the current situation by using their neutral position to rebuild relationships in the Arab world and the West. Under the rule of former President Bashar al-Assad, Syria was shunned by many regional neighbors and Western countries. He was ousted in December 2024 by rebels. Syria has positioned itself as a safe alternative for exports during the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran. I'm Karen Shamas.
Federal prosecutors released a video showing the moment that a man who was armed with guns and knives tried to storm the White House Correspondents' Dinner intent on assassinating President Trump. Townhall.com. Prediction markets argue they're different from sports books, yet gambling addicts and experts in the field say it's all the same thing.
Clinicians who treat gambling disorders are concerned about their patients turning to prediction markets. Two gambling addicts who spoke to the Associated Press say they had relapses on prediction markets after they took legal action to protect themselves from the allure of sports betting. Their stories reflect what experts say they see with some of their clients. The rapid growth of prediction markets has sparked a high-stakes debate that is playing out in courts and legislatures all over the country. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
The Onion's plan to transform Alex Jones' InfoWars platforms into parody sites are in limbo again. New legal filings by Jones led a Texas appeals court to pause a proposed deal. It would give the satirical news outlet control over InfoWars. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning on the John Fredericks Radio Network. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul, built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday morning for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
President Trump is already transforming Washington, D.C., making it the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful city in the world. But we need fighters on the ground to keep it going. I'm John Fredericks, and I'm running for chairman of D.C. GOP Ward 2 to make sure Trump's vision for this city becomes a reality. Safe streets, clean neighborhoods, and yes, rat-free. Go to MakeDCGreat.com. That's MakeDCGreat.com right now and send a donation. Let's finish what President Trump started. Donation limit $200. I'm John Fredericks, and I paid for this ad.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale only $14.98. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's gonna ship absolutely free.
To take advantage of the second annual mega sale, go to MyPillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla.
Buddy Carter, warrior, great guy.
President Trump and Buddy Carter are working to help Georgians keep more of what they earn by passing the largest tax cut in history, eliminating taxes on tips and overtime, and making the child tax credit permanent.
Buddy Carter, warrior, great guy.
From day one, Buddy Carter has stood with President Trump on his mission to make life more affordable for working families. But while President Trump and Buddy Carter were protecting our wallets, Congressman Mike Collins was abusing them. Congressman Collins is under federal investigation for misusing taxpayer funds to benefit himself and his cronies. According to the investigation report, Congressman Mike Collins, quote, may have violated federal law by shelling out government funds to one of his top aides. Georgia families have had enough of wasteful, corrupt career politicians. We just can't trust or afford Mike Collins. Paid for by Buddy Carter for Senate.
I'm Buddy Carter, and I approve this message.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation. motivation.
If you want to go after an athlete, one of my athletes, you go after one that doesn't do the right things. You don't downgrade him because he does everything right and may not play as well on Saturday, and you let us make that decision. That's why I don't read the newspaper, because it's garbage, and the editor that let it come out is garbage. Attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right. And then you want to write articles about guys that don't do things right and downgrade them, the ones that do make plays. Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
You, my friends, are on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, TGIF. Great to have you with us today. We got the Virginia gang coming up. Well, we got a lot to talk about. Chap Peterson in the house. Backed by popular demand, no doubt. He's got a lot to say about this gerrymandering thing. We got a new ruling by SCOTUS. Coming up on the Virginia gang is going to be Pam Everett. She's a lieutenant governor in South Carolina. She wants to join the gang because, well, she has called on her governor, McMaster, to have a special session. We've also urging Tennessee to have a special session, and Georgia, and Sarah Huckabee in Arkansas, because these maps are now, guess what? They're illegal. Harmeet Dillon on the next said, in case we had enough, if the governors don't act, I'm going to step in. I'm the head of Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice. These maps are illegal, and if you don't do it, I will. Sounds like she threw the gauntlet down. Now, a big Harmeet Dillon fan. I backed her for chairman of the RNC. Got all kinds of abuse over that, but we don't care. I'm always the visionary 2 or 3 or 4 years ahead of everybody else. Time for the Virginia gang. This segment brought to you by the Safer Supervision Act, of which I'm a huge proponent of federally. The Safer Supervision Act in markup right now in the Senate. Call your senator. It gives parole officers and judges the opportunity to free people that have been out that have been released from jail. Doesn't have anything to do with that. They're released. They're on supervision, but they're doing all the right things. They're drug and alcohol free. They have a job. They're trying to assimilate back in society. They're paying their taxes. They're working hard. They're trying to adjust. And the parole officer says there's no reason for this person to continue to be under supervision. They got to leave their job on a dime to go meet with me to do a drug test. They're doing everything right. I'd rather spend the time on people that need my supervision.
I'm not sure.
Because they've not adjusted. So it's the extension of President Trump's First Step Act. And I urge you, call your senators, call your congressmen to support the Safer Supervision Act. More information, go to safersupervision.com. Tell your congressman or senator to get it done, safersupervision.com. This message has been paid for by the Reform Action Fund. Okay. Danny, who do we have on now? Let's see. Who do we have, Dan? We got Saxman. We got Lieutenant Governor Pam Everett. We got Chap Peterson. We got Joe Morrissey in studio. Okay. We got everybody coming up. We got the Lieutenant Governor. You're on with the gang, Lieutenant Governor. This is quite an honor being on with the Virginia gang.
How are you guys?
I know this is what I love about Pam. We're like, well, Pam, this is just isn't me. You're coming out with the Virginia gang. She's like, what time? How do I get there?
Why don't you guys move to South Carolina? You are a mess over there. It's a dumpster fire. I got everybody from Virginia wanting to come to South Carolina.
Let's go right to Pam here, guys.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful here. We got mountains, we got waterfalls, we got beaches, we got the best golf in the country. You just need to come to South Carolina.
Pam, tell the gang about 2 things. You had all these protests going on down there. What were they mad at? What was this about at the HBCU college? Were they paid protesters? What was that about?
John, I really don't know. In December, they asked me to be their commencement speaker. I've done commencement speeches for 8 years, talking about, the importance of hard work, the importance of being the best in the room, and how don't let anything stand in your way of the success you want. That's always been the inspiring message I've given. I was invited to the White House on Tuesday. My team called me and said, all these things were spinning up on the campus of SC State University. It's one of our historically Black colleges and universities. I was kind of shocked by it, and then it turned into like a full on, we don't want her there. And what the students said was, because I'm pro-Trump, I'm pro-life, and I'm anti-DEI, that I support law enforcement and I support ICE. And those weren't the ideals that they shared, and they didn't want me there. And it was like, wow, when is this going to stop? And John, after the assassination, the political assassination of Charlie Kirk, I went on and made some very bold statements that we should get rid of tenure on our college campuses, that these professors have way too much power, that they're indoctrinating our kids, because if the faculty and the leadership at SC State were doing their job, they would have sat these young adults down and said, listen, President Trump has done more for historically Black colleges and universities than any president in our history. And the governor and lieutenant governor has continued to support. And the fact that we have a Republican, a supermajority in the House and the Senate here in South Carolina, we have continuously funded to make their campus better. And so what is the problem you have with them? And they should have, but they didn't. Just like we see from California to New York, we allowed this to happen. They rescinded the invitation that they had given me in December based on security reasons. They didn't feel it was safe for me to be there.
Well, I mean, you're the lieutenant governor, you're running for governor, you want to go and meet with the students and make a speech and engage in debate, and they kick you out and then protest over it. Chap Peterson, former Democratic Senator, Northern Virginia. Chap, you're right up there. You got George Mason University right in the center of your hometown, your district. I mean, all the lieutenant governor wanted to do was go there and engage students, and they kick her out. What's the deal here, Chap?
Well, I think unfortunately it seems to be a trend in higher education. It's been this way for, 15, 20 years, where you can disrespect speakers, you can exclude speakers based on viewpoint, even speakers that are elected officials. I spoke at a commencement at George Mason in 2004, and I was a Democrat, and there were people protesting me because of votes that I had taken. And you know what? I actually had a meeting with some of the student leaders ahead of time, and we talked it out. And, I think sometimes 18, 19, 20 years old, you think you know everything. I was there, believe me, I remember it well. And I've had children go through that. And I think our society tends to be less, what's the word I'm looking for? Less demanding of students that age, as opposed to just saying, look, this was how it's going to be. We're going to have a speaker. You're going to be respectful. If you don't want to be respectful, then don't be there. That's your choice too.
Well, let's bring, go ahead, Pam.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, you're right. We've seen this time and time again. I never thought I'd be in the list of these kind of people, but Riley Gaines, look what they did to her on college campuses. Look what they did to Charlie Kirk. Look what they've done to Ben Shapiro. They've gone after Lee Zeldin. When are we going to actually take a hardline stand and say, listen, words don't equal violence, right? Like, what you can't threaten. There's no place to not be safe like that, right? And at some point, you're right. Like, when are the adults in the room going to be the adults? And, the students we're talking about, they're young adults. I mean, they've graduated. They, they're smart. But we can, on one hand, say this is our future. They've graduated college. They're going to be successful. But we're going to allow this bad behavior, and we're just going to take and bend a knee to it once again.
Saxman, you want to weigh in? One of Pam's ideas is, why do these college professors have tenure where they basically are there for life?
Well, that brings up the entire subject of college funding going forward, especially in the AI revolution that's going to occur. I don't think they quite understand the amount of change that's going to be dealt to these campuses and the manner in which we, first of all, Lieutenant Governor, great to see you here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. My son was a manager of the basketball team in South Carolina, went to the Final Four. So it's always great to be on with some folks from South Carolina. Anyway, look, college administrators are cowards. Just call it for what it is. All right. They don't want to deal with what they have brought into their universities. It's a bad business model for them. There's going to be a wrecking ball taken to higher education. And frankly, I can't wait for that change to occur because it's long overdue.
Pam Everett, the other day we had Lieutenant Governor, South Carolina, Pam, also leading candidate for governor in that primary coming up. You called, this is after the SCOTUS ruling 2 days ago, 6-3, basically making the racially gerrymandered districts, they gutted Section 2.0 of the Civil Rights Act, said those were unconstitutional and illegal.
Rights Act.
I'm sorry?
Voting Rights Act.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Voting Rights Act. Thank you, Joe. They gutted Section 2.0, got rid of that, unconstitutional. But the governors now have to act because the caveat was we're going to leave it up to the states, but these are unconstitutional. The states have to act. But then we've got Landry in Louisiana put his election off, do new maps. You saw what DeSantis did in Florida. Tate Reeves, Mississippi governor, halted everything, put that primary off. He convened a special session Monday. And then you immediately called for Governor McMaster and your candidate for governor to suspend the primary and to redraw the maps. How has that been received, Pam? And could you explain your thinking on that to our panel, please?
Well, yeah, John, every state has their own state constitution. And so we have to look at our state, but the governor and I had a long conversation yesterday talking about now going back to the General Assembly, encouraging them to look at our maps, make sure it now falls in line with the new SCOTUS ruling. The General Assembly, we're only 7 days from it ending. So us doing that or them doing that would probably require the governor to call them back. So everybody is in talks because, the governor and I have always been supportive of the president, and we know exactly how much help he needs and what's happening around the country. Just like President Trump always does. He brought this to light, but this whole idea of what blue states were doing is not new. And the reason the Democrats are so mad is because President Trump has said, hey, look at states like Massachusetts, look at states like Illinois. It's not a representation. And why are they doing it? And we're standing here doing nothing. And the Democrats just got mad. They got mad that somebody figured it out. And just like President Trump always does, he has the backbone to call it out. And now you're seeing red states with conservative governors are going, okay, what can we do to help this president? What can we do to make sure that Democrats cannot continue to do what they're doing and not give equal representation in their states? We're going to have to fix that. And so I'm proud of what Republicans are doing. We do good when we come together and work together.
So what did Governor McMaster say?
So really, he's going to ask the General Assembly to go ahead and look at our maps, make sure that that they fall in line with SCOTUS, and if they don't, then we need to figure out what to do next. And that's something
you've got one gerrymandered district, District 6, that's Clyburn's. That thing is obviously not in compliance with the new constitutional ruling. So how do you deal with that?
Well, then we have to get in compliance, and that's the whole point of all these things that are happening in every single state. Is make sure that we now fall in line with the new rulings. And John, I'm in South Carolina. If you look at our numbers, we pretty much dominate. We have a supermajorities in our House and Senate. All of our constitutional officers are Republican. Everybody we send to Congress, except for one person, is Republican. So I think we've done a good job. But like I've always said, if we can do better, that's exactly what we have to do. Whatever we have to do to help the president and make sure that we can keep his agenda moving forward in November needs to be done.
Pam, when is your primary in South Carolina?
Oh, 39 days, John, but who's counting?
So if you did a new map, would Governor McMaster have to do what Jeff Landry did in Louisiana and push the primary back in order to accommodate people running in the new maps? Districts?
Well, that's kind of the problem. What I've been hearing, there's been a lot of talk about this. Obviously, everybody's trying to dig into the legalities of it. What I have heard on the first blush, again, that was just the first swipe through, is that our Constitution wouldn't allow the governor to do that. So we would have to see how we could actually get that done if it was something that was even possible.
Joe Morrissey, the legality of this in South Carolina is complicated, not as complicated in like Louisiana or Tennessee, which we're still waiting on that governor to act. But Joe, you're a lawyer. You've been through this in the General Assembly. We're dealing with a Virginia situation. How do you see this all tying in, Joe Morrissey?
Sure. I'll try to tie it together. First of all, I want to welcome the Lieutenant Governor to the Virginia gang. She certainly makes this group of 6 far more attractive. The quotient attractiveness factor has increased exponentially. Pam, it's lovely to see you. Lovely to meet you. John, this Louisiana redistricting case is one of the most impactful cases that I've seen in the Supreme Court in literally decades. I mean, it is up there with Miranda versus Arizona, Gideon versus Wainwright, the Brown versus Board of Education. It is huge. First of all, let's make sure that we understand what it does. It says it completely guts Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, but importantly, it says the following: partisan gerrymandering, okay. Intent to discriminate based on race, wrong. So what does that mean? We've got over a third of the members of the House of Representatives, I believe this figure is correct, majority minority districts. That's going to change dramatically. And think about this. The various legislatures will decide how we're going to reapportion these districts. Those black districts, by that I mean a majority minority district, those representatives are going to say, keep it the way it is. Oh no. Those Democratic legislatures are going to say, no, we're going to try to create more Democratic districts, and black majority minority districts are going to be decreased significantly. That's the impact. Second, this has been going on for about 13 years. Since 2013, the Supreme Court has slowly been eroding the Voting Rights Act, and it culminated in the decision this past Wednesday. So it's huge. It's huge. Now, tie it into what happened with what's going on in Virginia. Some prognosticators, pundits, are saying this Supreme Court decision involving the Louisiana redistricting case is going to make it more difficult for Republicans to win in the Virginia Supreme Court. I disagree. Yes, it says that partisan gerrymandering is okay, but the Virginia case is based on 2 primary points that we saw from questioning on this past Monday. Number one, the whether or not there was some type of 2 key issues: improper special session. In other words, the special session in October was supposed to deal with budget, but it dealt with the redistricting. And the other is, when does an election begin? Is it the Tuesday in November, or is it the 45 days before? I maintain that those 2 reasons, and if you listen to the questions on Monday by the Supreme Court justices, I maintain that referendum is going to be overturned. At the end of the day, that's going to be overturned. And I'm telling you, legislatures across the country are going to be quickly seizing on the Louisiana case and drastically changing the configurations of their districts so that the end result, hear me, are less black representatives in the United States House of Representatives. There's going to be blood in the street.
Well, all we need is more African American conservative Republicans to run for Congress in the districts that they get. I mean, it has nothing to do with
yes.
I mean, that's what we need. I mean, Pam, when you look at this, and I really wanted to get you on today because within 15, 20 minutes after this ruling coming down, right? The two people who stepped up and said, well, Reeves did it, Tate Reeves did it Friday. I thought that was a brilliant move. Reeves said on Friday in Mississippi, hey, I don't really get involved I don't really talk a lot. He sends out this X. I don't really talk a lot. It's Friday night. I don't really do anything on Friday night. But if this thing comes down, I'm calling a special session like the day after. But then 15 minutes after the ruling, the two people who came out immediately, Senator Blackburn, running for governor in Tennessee, called on her governor to immediately call a special session, get rid of those gerrymandered districts in Nashville. And then Pam Everett, who's with us now, calling on Governor McMaster to either keep them there or get a special session and change that map. So you're only one or two people in the country that came out with something within 15 minutes. So I want to get back to how this is going to affect your race for governor and what the chances of you changing those maps are for 2026.
Well, I think that if it's at all possible, South Carolina has always been a very red conservative state. And if there is a pathway possible, you'll see it happen here. We have a Speaker of the House that has always been very loyal to the president. You have a governor and lieutenant governor who understands how important this administration is and the ability to keep Congress working with the president. And let's face it, we just want to make sure here in South Carolina, we're doing exactly what we should be doing for its people. Like I said earlier, Republicans dominate this state. They want to make sure we're following the letter of the law. They want to make sure we're doing everything we can to keep our state a conservative state, and really that we're putting people in office that represent the people. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. Do we have the right representation for the people in those districts? And so we're going to do everything we can to. And Tate Reeves, I knew him. He was a lieutenant governor going out because he was getting elected for governor. I was coming in. So, John, I think what this tells you is us number twos, we got a backbone, and we're going to make sure we do all we can.
I mean, the Tate Reeves thing, I got that on Friday night. And the way he put it out there is like, I don't really do anything on Friday night ever. So, I mean, it's just because the guy is very, if you know him, he's very low key, laid back. He's, that's kind of his style. Chap Peterson, I know you got to go set
Right.
it way in.
Well, let me just say that I agree completely with the logic behind the court's decision. I think the use of racial classifications in law is inherently impossible under the 14th Amendment. You just can't do it under a sustained basis. And maybe there was a brief period of time, and when there was, that it was constitutional, but that period's over. And John, we've had many discussions about this. Having said that, I don't like the gerrymandering, the redistricting. I wish that the Supreme Court had somehow pushed the effect of this decision off to the next congressional cycle. I just feel like it's going to lead to a rush, which is not going to look good. It didn't look good in Virginia, and we criticized it. And Madam Lieutenant Governor, you don't have to worry about my opinion. I'm a Democrat in Virginia. I'm meaningless, but I just don't like the look of it. And I do think it is going to have an impact that Senator Morrissey described, and that has its own dynamic. So I got to go to court and make some money, but I just want to be heard on that. And John, as always, appreciate
What is your prediction? How does the Virginia Supreme Court rule?
I heard the oral argument also. I think it'll be a split decision. I think it'll be 4-3. I'm not going to say which way. I'll make my prediction on the bet market, but I think it'll be a split decision. I think it'll be close.
John, I usually follow Senator Peterson in the General Assembly and the Senate. I would turn around like this and see where Chap was voting. However, I think he's wrong here. I think it's a 7-0 vote by the Virginia Supreme Court to overrule the referendum.
I always looked at Chap's vote to make sure I was voting the right way.
Saxman, what are they gonna rule? Make a prediction.
I have no idea when they're.
Come on, make a prediction.
Why? I have no idea. I'm not an attorney. I don't go before the court like Chap does. I have no knowledge. Okay, follow my bets, kids. Go to your What the hell?
Well, I won both
Okay,
my
here,
hockey
John-
games. By the way,
John,
I won
here's
both my
why-
hockey
We
games
have
last
Lieutenant
night.
Governor of the Palmetto State on here. It is the fastest growing state in the country. Her administration with Henry McMaster has done an incredible job growing the Palmetto State. It's a vibrant state. People are moving there in droves, and I hope she's elected to governor. It would be outstanding for the Palmetto State to put her in the governor's mansion. Let's just put that up front. She's our guest here in the Commonwealth.
Pam, how do you win this race? How do you win the primary? I saw the latest polls out. They got like basically it's a 3 or 4 way tie. May still in there. How do you win this race?
Well, you get people out to vote. That's the hard part everywhere. Even here in the great state of South Carolina, non-presidential primary, these midterm cycles, we're lucky if we get 13%. So it's getting out the vote. But I think you're right. And thank you so much for that great endorsement. Watch my social media. I'll be putting that out today. But it's getting people out to vote. And people are happy. If you ask people, a lot of my opponents, coming in and talking about how South Carolina is this terrible place and they need to go in there and they need to change everything. Well, polling doesn't show that. Polling shows that in the low 80s, people think we're going in the right direction. So I think that's a losing message. I'm going to talk about all the things that the governor and I have done over these last 8 years, and that under an Abbott administration, we're going to eliminate state income tax. Not because, we think maybe it's the right thing to do. It's the absolute right thing to do. We're going to cut these crazy regulations. We have over 80,000 regulations. We're going to cut it. We're going to make sure we change the way we elect our judges, because that's what the people of South Carolina want. We share that. Only one of two states or the other state that allows the General Assembly to elect judges. I don't think it should ever go to the people. I think the governor should appoint. The General Assembly can confirm. Let's make it based on term limits, and let's have a review process, because we've seen around the country where judges have fallen off the rails, and we need a mechanism to pull them back in when that's done. We need prosecutors who are willing to prosecute, and we need judges who are willing to deliver sentences that are appropriate for the crimes. We need consequences back in this country. We see it on so many levels. When there's not consequences, these things tend to hype up, and we don't need that anymore. And that's what I'm hearing from the people of South Carolina. I'm going to talk about my vision. I'm going to talk about the fact that I was a successful business person in the private sector. I've sat at the right hand of the governor. And when people of South Carolina go out to vote, ask yourself one important question. Would I hire this person to be the CEO of my company? And if you can't say yes, then you probably don't want to vote for him to be the CEO of this. And I'm the only person that has been successful as a CEO in government and as a CEO in the private sector. So that's the message I'm giving, John, to the people of South Carolina. And I hope it energizes them to get out and vote.
Governor, let me ask you a couple of questions. First of all, I want to echo what Chris Saxman said about welcoming you to Virginia. I, too, love visiting South Carolina. Most of the time it's Hilton Head or Myrtle Beach with the kids, but I always love the idea that I'm going to end up in South Carolina. Just a fabulous state, and I wish you the best. Few questions. There are 4 candidates in the Republican primary. Is that correct?
There's actually 6 of us in total.
How many men? How many women?
2 women, 4 men. Oh, 3 women, 3 men.
Okay.
Right?
Second question, is the governor going to make an endorsement before the primary?
The governor endorsed me about a month and a half ago, has given me his full endorsement, told everybody if they really like this chapter in South Carolina, they're going to love the next one with Pamela Abbott as their governor.
That's lovely. Last thing, has the president endorsed in the Republican primary?
He is not endorsed yet. Everybody, it's the number one question. It's the most coveted endorsement in the country. And so, I'm very proud of my record, of supporting the president. I supported the president when I was just a business owner because I knew we needed something more than career politicians. And so I've continued that support, the governor and I. I've done everything the president has asked. And I'll tell you, the one thing that sets me apart from everybody else in this governor's race is the president came to South Carolina in January of 23. I'm the only person running for governor that stood with the president when there were no polls to show he was going to win, when everybody across the country was trying to indict him, because I knew there was no place. It was a Saturday afternoon. So I love when my opponents say, well, I was doing this, or I had this important thing. I canceled a trip to Florida with RLGA to be with the president, because nothing was more important than getting Joe Biden and Kamala Harris away from that Oval Office. And anything we needed to do, we should have came in. And I believe that the president remembers and respects loyalty. And so every day I tell people, when they ask me about the president, I say everybody should be honored to have his endorsement. Nobody should expect it. But that's the one endorsement I would absolutely love to have.
All right. Well, best of luck to you. When you get elected, win the primary and get elected governor, my clan, the kids and I will stop by the governor's mansion and say hello to you.
I'd be happy to show you our beautiful historic mansion.
You got a lot of fans here, Pam. Joe's an independent. Jeff's a Democrat.
John, are you going to endorse? John just endorsed right here, too, just like all of your guests.
Are you asking for my endorsement of the Pam Everett campaign?
Absolutely, John.
Well, you know, I'm really good friends with Nancy Mace, right? You know that.
Yeah, you told me.
Nancy and I go back a very long time. But that is a very compelling question, and I'm leaning to that. But understand, when I'm very loyal, and Nancy and I worked together in the Trump campaign. She was an OG, and she's been through a lot in her life. And so, but I don't think she's going to win this race.
John, I think we got to get bus tour down to Carolina real quick.
What?
Strong arm John. You know, we got to make, again, I know that people align themselves with candidates, but when you're talking about running a country, running a state, running local government, you have to look at people's resumes, and you have to pick who is going to be the best person to allow, the country, the state, local government to flourish. And so, John, that's my compelling argument to you. You got to look at both of our resumes and say, who's going to come in here and make the state better? Who has the know-how to make the changes that are going to make, government better?
I think that's a pretty compelling reason. So I will definitely call you over the next day or so. But it's a good question, and thank you for asking it.
You're welcome. You guys, come on, strong arm John a little bit in these next few days.
We'll get him there. I was just texting with Trey Walker. We'll get him there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but I have talked to Nancy. She's been through a lot in her life, but I don't like the way their campaign has gone. Some of the things have been I don't think they're helpful. So I'll just leave it at that. Jim Hobgood is with us, former candidate for Congress in Virginia, also the father of my executive morning producer, Dan Hobgood, also the longtime basketball voice of the Cavaliers, played a little basketball himself. Jim, do you have a question for the Lieutenant Governor?
Well, I think she has mentioned it's a multi-candidate race with a low turnout election. So how's your ground game down there in South Carolina? I think that's going to be critical in this type of campaign.
Well, when I announced in July of 25 that I was running for governor, I also made a promise that I would hit all 46 counties by the end of last year. On December 16th, I have hit all 46 counties, having town halls and meet and greets, and it has been amazingly attended. And I'm out there every day, sometimes 11, 12 events a day, shaking people's hands, letting them know who I am. And my mom is 97. She lives with me, and she always tells me to know me is to love me. So I've used that and made sure I've gotten everywhere. And I think it's important to shake people's hands and ask them for their vote, because it's the one thing that they have. It equalizes everybody, and people want to be asked personally for that. So my ground game has been spot on, and I have a great team, and we are everywhere. We'll be doing a meet and greet in Spartanburg this afternoon, going to the iconic Ike's, and just shaking hands with people and wishing them a great Friday and letting them ask me whatever questions they'd like to ask.
Hey, Governor, that's
now, how do you address
the
Clemson, South Carolina rivalry down there, South Carolina?
So that is a great thing. When I first came, when the governor will tell you he plucked me out of the business world. The governor, big Gamecock fan, my husband, big Clemson fan. And I used to tease when people would ask, like, what do the governor and I not agree on? I would say it's the rivalry between Clemson and the Gamecocks. But now I have a daughter that went to law school at USC. My youngest son is at Clemson. So now I tell people I'm an equal opportunity tuition payer. Wherever my kids want to go and be successful, I end up writing a check to. So that's how I keep everybody happy in South Carolina and our colleges, because I've written checks to lots of colleges.
Pam, I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Can you, as the Lieutenant Governor of South Carolina, give us some insight into what I call the handshake? And I'm talking, of course, about the brouhaha involving Dawn Staley, who was a UVA superstar and now the head coach of the women's team, South Carolina Gamecocks, when she went to shake the hand of the UConn coach after that semifinal championship game. And that's all I heard for the next 2 or 3 days is what happened at that handshake. Do you have any insight for us?
I do not have any insight, but super proud of what our Gamecock girls basketball has done over the years. Obviously, Dawn Staley, an amazing coach, keeps bringing home the wins. But no, I don't have any personal insight on the handshake. I wish I could help you with that one.
Joe, just a little background. Gino Ariema was an assistant coach to Debbie Ryan way back in the day. So both Dawn and Gino have UVA ties. Just as a former Who myself, I need to point that out.
Pam, you realize that Dawn Staley was a 2 or 3 time All-American at UVA, right?
I knew that she was an All-American. I didn't know exactly where she went to school, but
she was a Cavalier.
Wow. Now, see, I'm telling you, she's wildly popular here, and she can really fill up that stadium when the girls are playing. And, every year is an exciting year for Gamecock girls basketball. And so, we're always going to be the team to beat as long as we have Coach Staley.
I think she handled that that handshake fiasco with a lot of class. I mean, she got mad at the guy, at Gino, as she should. You're in the heat of the moment. But I thought, when they were asking her about it, she wouldn't comment on it because she knew she was upset and figured, you know what, anything I say is going to be bad here. So she just had no comment. Went on with the thing until afterwards. I really thought she handled that with class. My question is, if you're governor, I got to drive to Georgia. I go down 85. The construction in Greenville on 85 has gone on for 20 years. When is that thing going to get done? And it doesn't matter. I can leave at midnight and be at 3 a.m. and I'm caught in traffic on 85 South because of early construction. When are you going to finish that?
Well, John, we are going to definitely figure out a different way. I always tell people you need a business person in there to have new ideas to solve the same old problems. And so we're looking to modernize DOT. We're looking to bring that under the governor, make it a cabinet position. So when you don't like the way that road looks, John, you'll know you only have one person you can call and yell at, and it'll be me, and I'd be happy to take your call. But we're going to get creative on how we get these projects done. For years, I have said, if you're a business person, you know that time is money and time kills deals. So that's why this year the governor and I asked for $1.1 billion from the General Assembly to expedite these road projects. Because we know if we get them done quickly, it's going to save us money in the long run. And so we're looking to modernize DOT. We're going to look at bringing public-private partnerships together like they've done in states, so we can use some private dollars to get some, access pass lanes across South Carolina, to give people the option of how quick they want to move, and then take that money that we'd be saving on expansion and look at other roads and get projects done quicker. So I have a plan. I believe that over the last 8 years, I have made great relationships within the General Assembly. I have a lot of respect for a lot of the members, and I think they have a lot of respect for me, and we'll be able to work together to get these problems fixed.
Pam, let me ask you a policy question. Right now, the country gas prices are soaring. That's because the supply of oil has diminished drastically. If my memory serves me correctly, South Carolina is a leading producer both in refining oil and producing petrol. What steps would you suggest should be taken by the state of South Carolina to do its part to increase the supply, domestic supply of gasoline in our country?
So, I think what everybody really wants to talk about is how do you give people at home relief from that? And a lot of what I'm talking about on the policy side is eliminating our state income tax. When you eliminate state income tax, you give people more money at their kitchen table. And the best way to do that, like everybody kind of wants to talk around things, but the biggest cause of inflation is government spending. And so how here in South Carolina do we control that bring prices of things down, really have honest conversations with our young people about, the amazing resource in our technical college system. Because when everybody talks about affordability, I can tell you here in South Carolina that when I talk to young adults, the young adults that are telling me that they have a real struggle coming out of college are also saddled with a ton of college debt. You know who's not complaining about affordability and buying a home in their 20s is young people that have decided to go into the trades. Young people who have decided to use our technical college system and are coming out with great paying jobs and no college debt and not feeling the pressures that some are. So what I have been doing as lieutenant governor, and I'll continue to do as governor, is to talk about the amazing options that we have for our young people here to get themselves into successful degrees. But really, affordability is going to be more of a problem than just gas. When we eliminate state income tax, and we will eliminate state income tax when I'm governor, that puts a lot more money back into people's homes. It takes pressure out of the pot, and it will kind of force government into really controlling spending, which, again, government spending, single biggest cause of inflation.
Right now, we have a lot of industries in Virginia that are finally realize what you just said, Lieutenant Governor, and that is by creating these internships and these vocational training to increase the number of HVAC technicians, plumbers, drywall, electricians, great paying jobs, very noble, very laudable, great work. And those people, you're right, they don't come out and owe $150,000.
You're right.
And but I'll end by my point by saying this: if you ask people in elections right now across the country, the number 1, 2, and 3 inquiry that they have, problem that they have, it's gasoline price, gasoline price, gasoline price. And I think any candidate that can show that they are taking a position that will lower that price, whether it's increasing refinery capacities in South Carolina, increasing the production of petroleum in South Carolina, that is going to resonate with those middle-aged voters that are going to come out in the special election. That's just,
and we've been talking about, something my campaign has been talking about is, it's no secret here in South Carolina that there was a gas tax enacted when the governor first got into office, which he vetoed, which his veto was overridden. And, when you talk about, excess taxes like that, suspending it to give people some relief while the president handles the problems that we're having abroad is always helpful. Now that gas tax goes to roads, so it goes back to John's questions. When you suspend that, you're kind of taking that money away, but it just means we got to tighten our belt in other areas.
I want to ask you about the shipping industry, the big tanker shipping industry in the Port of Charleston. I know since we widened the Panama Canal some years back, we got bigger tankers going in there. One of the issues with the Port of Charleston is the port wasn't deep enough at the time to handle some of the bigger tankers coming in. How has that been dealt with? And do you see plans there to increase the capacity of the Port of Charleston?
Well, a few years ago, we did a huge dredging project. We have the deepest, widest port on the East Coast right now, so we can get 2 of those big tankers coming in and going. There is no doubt that the Port of Charleston is a jewel in the crown of South Carolina, because when you look at manufacturing, we dominate the world in advanced manufacturing. And I love to talk about like the positive things going on in South Carolina. I've done that for 8 years. We build more BMWs here in South Carolina than anywhere in the world, and those are South Carolina's fingerprints. We manufacture more tires than anywhere in the country. You look at Boeing and Lockheed Martin, and I can go on and on with what we do, but they will tell you it's the ability to have the port there to deal with supply chain, getting parts of their supply chain in, getting their finished products out is vitally important. And we have 2 inland ports. You know, we're the only state in the country that has 2 inland ports. So we're moving things by rail, one in Spartanburg, one in Dillon. So we are set up to have continued growth and success in this market. But as the next governor, I want to make sure we're broadening our horizons and making sure that, you know, we're getting research in here and we're getting technology in here. And we have amazing incubator facilities that are going up around the state to pull out talent from our colleges and universities when it comes to nuclear, when it comes to shipbuilding, when it comes to engineering. Those incubator companies are going to be the next, you know, grassroots success stories here in South Carolina. And that's why I go back to, John, we need a business person at the helm that understands how you have to think out of the box. You know, we are the #1 state for inward migration, but outward migration out of our college campuses is really high. And we need to change that because we need to keep the best and brightest right here in South Carolina. So I look forward to, when I'm governor, diversifying what we're doing and bringing more of those research jobs, more of those high-tech jobs right here to South Carolina.
West Virginia's having the same problem in young people just leaving the state. Beautiful state. I know Governor Morrissey did back him in his race. Good friend of mine, great guy. But one of the things they're really struggling with is young people move out of the state because they don't see enough opportunity going forward for their life. It sounds like you've got some of that going on in the Palmetto State. What is one concrete thing to do to change that perception?
Again, being creative. As I just alluded to, we have these incubator programs that are happening all around the state. I toured they do a unmanned shipbuilding process, crafting it, working with the Department of Defense. But they started as an incubator program in one of our incubator facilities, working with students coming out of Clemson and USC and other colleges around the state. Engineering students, gave them opportunity, and they have continued to grow. They now have big contracts with our Department of War. You know, we have Joint Base down here in South Carolina. When you were talking about energy and gas, 58% of our electric capacity comes from nuclear. And we are really focused on energy here in South Carolina.